Roll another blunt. Yeah. Oh, good. La da 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 da. La da da. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Yeah. I was gonna clean my room until I got high. I was gonna get up and find the broom, but then I got high. My room is still messed up, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da 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 da. I was gonna go to class before I got high. Come on, y'all. Check it out. I could've cheated and I could've passed, but I got high. La da. I'm taking it next semester, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. I was gonna go to court before I got high.
Well, that is my friend and yours, Joseph Foreman, a.k.a. Afro Man. And it was on this day, October the 28th, in 2001, that Mr. Foreman began a 2-week run at number 1 on the UK singles chart with that song, Because I Got High. It's a song about how cannabis use was degrading his quality of life. And it rose from obscurity to popularity after it was circulated around the internet. Because I Got High, a number 1 song 24 years ago this day, the 28th of October. Good Tuesday morning. It's the Tired Tuesday show, hence my choice of number 1 song to play, because we might all feel as though we are still a little bit high. Not high like Cloud 9 high, but just, I don't know. I'm not much into the cannabis culture. You probably know that if you've heard this show before. But it's a little bit of a foggy-brained day. There's a haze in front of our eyes right now, at least for most of us. And if you didn't stay up for it last night, well, hey, good on you for being a responsible adult and getting some sleep. I hung in there until the bottom of the 11th inning. It was about 12:30 when I finally laid down my head on a pillow. I must confess, though, I did nod off a couple of times on the couch before I decided to call it a night and went to bed. So not a whole lot of sleep before we got in here again this morning, just a few hours later to get ready for the show. But it was one of those nights, one of those games. Here's what I am likening it to, if you will. I'll use the pop culture reference to one of my favorite movie franchises of all time. I mean, the franchise took a definite turn, didn't it? But the movie, the original, Rocky, great story, probably my favorite movie of all time. And if you followed the movie franchise, you know that in Rocky IV, our good friend and hero, Rocky Balboa, was up against the unbeatable Ivan Drago at a fight in Russia. And second round, first, whatever it was, at one point, Rocky landed a punch and Drago started to bleed. And all of a sudden, you knew this guy could be beat. Well, I'll tell you what. The Dodgers may have gotten the final run, I was about to say last night, earlier this morning. they may have, but we showed. Like, we went toe-to-toe with the super team. And is it okay if I say, and I'm sort of sorry for this because I know it's not kind, but I don't like you, Shohei Ohtani. I don't like you one little bit. I mean, I hope that you slip and fall on a banana peel today and can't pitch tonight or do anything else in the baseball game because I don't like you very much. But we stood toe-to-toe with that team and went 18 rounds just last night / this morning. We can beat these guys. And every bit of joy, every single bit of joy I have received from watching these Blue Jays throughout these playoffs and really towards the end of the regular season. Unforgettable stuff. I am loving every second of it. Like you, I would have preferred a win last night / this morning. I know, but I am all in on this team, and Shane Bieber's going to go get him tonight. That's as simple as that. Shane Bieber versus the guy that I hope slips on a banana peel sometime today and can't pitch. Let's go. Let's go, you Blue Jays. It was just one game or two games wrapped into one, but I'm still right there with this team. We got them. Just like Rocky bloodied the cheek of Ivan Drago, the Blue Jays took the super team that is the Los Angeles Dodgers 18 innings yesterday. 18. We're good. We got this. JB is on the phone with us this morning. Hey, JB.
Hey, go back to 2018, Game 3 of the World Series, Boston versus LA in LA, also went 18 innings. LA won that game in a home run fashion, and then LA lost the World Series. So a little bit of statistical hope there.
Was Banana Peel Ohtani on the team back in 2018?
No, he was still with
the other LA team, yeah. Anyway, I like that, JB. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. Hey, did you stay up for the whole thing?
I had it on the radio. I was nodding in and out the whole. I think I passed out around 11:30, but then woke up at 1 a.m. and went, oh, it's still going.
Till almost 3 o'clock. Imagine that, eh?
Wild.
Yeah. Thanks for the call. Good to hear from you.
Cheers.
Cheers, buddy. Listen, it's falling asleep with the radio, first and foremost, one of my favorite things to do, just nod off with those sounds in your ears. I used to do that when I was a kid, listening to the countdown shows on Sunday night because I didn't want to fall asleep, because that meant the night would go faster and I'd have to get up and go to school the next morning. Gary, Farwell's Force member number 41, calling from Guelph. Morning, Gary.
Good morning, buddy. How are you, man?
Top shelf.
And tired.
Oh, I'm so tired. I'm so be nice to the substitute teacher today, okay? Because I got nothing. My wit is going to be slower than ever.
Yeah, trust me. I know. A full day the morning shuttle, and then transit in the afternoon. By the time I got home, about just after 10, poured a glass of wine, turned on the TV, started watching it, and I'm like, okay, it's midnight. I got to get to bed.
Got to go to bed.
Yeah, it's I'm so proud. I've always been a Jays fan, and I was in Halifax and in a bar drinking beer and eating chicken wings when they won that last World Series. But I'm extremely proud of them. They've come a long way. This team is a force to be reckoned with for sure. And I don't want to say it, but even if Dodgers did beat them in all the games, we got to be extremely proud of, the Jays and how far they come. And, I just love how they're giving the Dodgers, the run for the money.
Absolutely.
Because, the Dodgers are probably going, what the hell is going on? We should be winning every game, because they got that attitude and a little cockiness, I guess. But,
yeah, they got some swagger.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, Ohtani, he's got to slip on a banana. That guy's unbelievable. But I think the Jays they're gonna be tired for sure. That is a lot of innings,
but see, here's the thing, Gary. Listen, I got to run, but thank you for that. And so are the Dodgers. And I'm not going to, forget it. Let's not talk about, it's just nice to be here and what we've done so far. The Blue Jays are still in this thing. The Blue Jays are still in this thing. Both teams had to go 18 innings last night / this morning. Both teams played a near 7-hour game. I want to find the person that stayed up for the whole thing and is up with me right now. Come on with your coming on if you did that. Apparently, I just learned this about 5 minutes before coming on the air. My coworker, PJ, from the Robin and PJ morning show on Country 106.7, was in Toronto at the watch party at Rogers Centre last night. Drove straight from there to here to do his morning show. So I think he's the one. And all I could think of this morning when I got up is at least it went 18 innings, because there was a time when I was a much younger man. There was a hockey playoff. It was the playoffs of 1987. Islanders, Capitals. It went to 4 overtimes. And finally, after the third overtime, I'm like, I got to go to bed. I can't stay up anymore. 16-year-old kid, you can stay up for days. But I went to bed, and 8 minutes and 47 seconds into overtime number 4.
Deneen out front, shoots, hit a stick, comes to the line. LaFontaine shot, he scores! LaFontaine at the blue line here in the 4th overtime.
Oh, Pat LaFontaine wins it for the Islanders in overtime number 4, and I didn't stay up for it. Last night, I hung in there until the bottom of the 11th inning. At least it didn't finish for another 7 innings and 2.5 hours after I went to bed. Let's squeeze in one more real quick before we get to your Farwell Show 5. Dennis, good morning.
Hey, how you doing?
Top shelf, how are you?
Not too bad.
Good. Did you stay up for the whole thing?
I watched it all.
You did not.
Yep.
And you're up right now talking to me?
Yeah, I got a lot to do today.
Didn't you think of that last night while you were staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning?
No, I was going to go fishing, but that kind of went out the window. So
wait a minute. You just said you have a lot to do today. You were going to go fishing? You call that a lot to do?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Good man.
You know what? I love the Jays. We watch them, cheer for them, but they were their own worst enemy last night.
How so? They didn't walk Ohtani in the 7th inning?
Well, hey.
They made the base running blunder in the second?
Guys, you do.
Okay, good.
But the thing is, Dave Schneider.
John Schneider.
Or, sorry, Don.
That's okay.
No. Yeah, Don. He tried to come home. Why?
Oh, Davis Schneider. Yeah, I know.
Why did he try and steal home? Was he sent home by the third base coach?
I think so. I don't know. But that was a tough one, too. Vladdy was coming to the plate.
And Falefa, same thing. He got thrown out.
I must have missed that one. It must have been after I went to bed.
And then when Bichette got stymied on first base, the Guerrero.
I know. That one hurt, eh? That one hurt.
That one hurt. I think that's. And why did Schneider pull? Why did Schneider pull Scherzer that early?
Well, that was time. Even Scherzer said he was ready to go. He had to go.
You know, I'm not sure.
I get you.
I think they could. And why did they pull Bassett that quick?
Well, I wasn't still awake for Bassett. I don't think. I can't remember. I'm confused.
I think last night there was just a few mistakes made that could have turned that ball game around.
All right.
And I think those are some of the key issues.
Dennis, I love hearing from you. Give that lovely wife of yours a hug for me, okay?
I'm sure going to do that.
Thank you, my friend. Good to hear from you this morning. All right. I know, listen, it was the big thing, and we're all about the Blue Jays. I'm going to squeeze in even one more here. Doug, good morning.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Good, Dougie.
A little bit tired.
A little bit.
Watch the whole game.
You did?
I did.
Son of a gun. You are made of good stuff, Doug.
Well, I'm retired, so I can get up and have naps. But, a lot of people jumping all over Snyder about pulling the players that he did. And, this guy's got us to where we are now, and I think we need to give him a little bit of slack. I still have confidence that our Jays will win at least one game in L.A.
Hey, listen, they need to win at least one to get it back to Toronto. I'm telling you, I'm with you. Like, this thing, I know it's hard this morning, but it's not over. It's not over. And that's 2 in a row, Dennis and Doug, who stayed up till almost 3 a.m. to watch the end of that game. Please remember when you call into the station, just turn down your radio in the background, okay? Doug's an expert at this. He should know that by now. Rob, good morning.
Hey, how you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Great. I just want to give a great job on the Rogers Center last night for doing a great job there.
Did you go down?
Yes, I was there. I can get home to 4 o'clock this morning.
Well, at least when you leave the Rogers Center at 3 a.m., you're not fighting traffic on the way home, eh?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, but I was going to say, like, it was really like you were at a live event because when they hit the home run, they had the home run horn going off, got the scoreboard going. Like when they hit the home run, it felt like, the guys are running the bases. The crowd was going nuts, but I just want to say they did a really good job last night. All
right, Rob, good to hear from you. Glad you made it. I heard that like 3,000 fans stuck around until the bitter end at almost 3 o'clock this morning. When we did our watch party in Kitchener at the Memorial Auditorium on the weekend, about 900 showed up to the Memorial Auditorium. Not bad. I mean, you're in Kitchener, you go to the game, whatever, inside the arena. But the watch parties in Kitchener were canceled yesterday. I wonder if it had to do with the attendance at the first one. Like, you got to weigh the odds here, the ROI on staying open and keeping the lights on and all those other things. Whatever. a huge crowd in Toronto last night, and about 3,000 stuck around for the whole ding-dang thing. I stuck in as long as I could. Turned in about 12:30, up at 5 this morning to get here. We're raring to go, and I'm already behind my time. I haven't done the Farwell Show 5 yet, but I'll tell you what, because I know Blue Jays are on your mind. We're going to take a quick break. If you want to talk more Blue Jays, if you want to talk more long sporting events, I'm here for it. And I'll get to the Farwell Show 5 right after this. It's the Mike Farwell Show on your tired Tuesday morning, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Let me tell you, you are made of far better stuff than me. My friends Paul and Arlene, we are Leafs fans together until the very end. It was Paul and Arlene that bought me the T-shirt that says just one Stanley Cup before I die. We love going on and on about our Leafs, and Arlene sends me an email this morning to Mike at 570news.com. Says, Paul stayed up until the end, but I packed it in at midnight. Paul is into his 80s and hung in there until almost 3 o'clock this morning. And Angèle, is it Angela with an E? Sends via email to Mike at 570news.com. Angèle must be, it's Morissette, the last name. Oops, I didn't mean to out your entire name, but that sounds Française. Oui. Chapeau. Anyway, missed a few keystrokes or thumbprints on the phone, but I believe the email says, I stayed up, but no work today. It says I strayed up and no whirl today. Just some appointments in my 40s and definitely feeling it. Angèle, we all are, and it's okay. You can have as many typos as you want when you're feeling it after a Blue Jays game like that. Isn't it funny? When you're teenagers, like I said, you can stay up for days. You get into a certain age, and I'll tell you what, before 12:30, I was nodding off on the couch. All right, I'm going to get back to the phones in just a moment because there's a very important caller waiting. Madam Mayor, I'm coming, but I got to get the Farwell Show 5 for a Tuesday morning, number 1. If you didn't stay up for it, you probably heard the score this morning, and you were glad you got a little extra sleep. It was a heartbreaker for the Blue Jays. And if you don't want your heart to break again, just cover your ears for the next 17 seconds, okay?
Furman sends a fly ball to center field. Varsho's going back before the clock strikes midnight. Freddie Freeman has ended it. It's a repeat hero with the last word on a Game 3 classic.
It was a classic, and before the clock strikes midnight in L.A., before the clock strikes 3 a.m. here in the Eastern time zone, Canada's own Freddie Freeman with the game-winning home run in the bottom of the 18th inning as the Dodgers downed the Blue Jays 6-5 last night, or this morning, or whatever. Game 4 starts in about 11 hours, and you can catch the game on 570 News Radio and Sportsnet. Number 2, your taxes in Cambridge are going up almost 5% or $85 per household. Mayor Jan Liggett presenting the strong mayor budget proposal last night, which includes an increase of 2.06% for the opening of the new recreation complex, an incremental infrastructure levy of 1%, and a 1.8% for base budget and other growth-related impacts. That's a total increase of 4.86%. We're talking about the regional budget, by the way, and the mandate to keep that increase under 5% on the show this morning, just after the 9:30 news. Number 3 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, a shooting in Waterloo has led to an arrest in Manitoba. The story dates back to May of 2024 when gunfire rang out inside a Waterloo business at King and University. A warrant was issued for the arrest of 20-year-old Jalen Bell McCormack of Toronto. Regional police say the suspect was arrested Friday in Winnipeg. Number 4, Hurricane Melissa set to pummel Jamaica today as a catastrophic Category 5 storm. It will be the strongest to lash the island since record-keeping began 174 years ago. The storm is already blamed for 7 deaths in the Caribbean. And number 5 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, Prime Minister Mark Carney is making the pitch that Singapore should grow its already significant investments in Canada. Carney is in Singapore today, and he's already met with the CEO of port operations company PSA International. And that is your Farwell Show 5 for this tired Tuesday morning, the 28th of October. The Blue Jays game ended about 6.5 hours ago, and they're going to be right back at it just after 8 tonight. Let's get back to our phone lines because Waterloo Mayor Dorothy McCabe is on the phone with us. Good morning, Madam Mayor.
Good morning, Mr. Farwell. You're doing great for being up that late.
Thanks. I don't need any sympathy. I'm a big fan. I just was excited by it. Thank you, though.
Well, I got home from council last night about 10 and then got to start to watch it from 10, but I tapped out I told myself I'm staying until the end of the 9th, and that was it. But great game.
It was, wasn't it?
I just wanted to do a shout out that tonight, the city of Waterloo and our Uptown BIA, we've got wear your winter coat, bring a lawn chair. We've got the game screening in our square.
That's awesome.
So it will be awesome. And like I said, it'll be a uniquely Canadian experience. Bring your winter coat to watch the baseball game in the square. So just wanted to make sure people knew about that.
Okay, so now listen, if you hung on until the 9th inning last night, like it's getting on midnight, are you going to be there tonight, Mayor McCabe? You're going to bring your parka, get out there for a bit?
I will. I'm at Rotary until about 7:30 or 8, and then I'll head over. So right about catch the start of the game.
Okay, I want to ask you one more question.
Are you going to be there, Farwell?
If I'm going to try, Mayor McCabe. I'm going to try, but I might fall asleep before the show ends today. Okay, so when you're at council and doing the important business of the city, are you keeping one eye on the World Series while you're at it?
I'm not going to lie. I was not in the chair last night, so I did have this. I wasn't watching the game. I just was every once in a while refreshed to see what the score was.
That's fair. Absolutely fair. When I was at Rangers games on the weekend, I was doing the same thing. So
yeah.
All right. We'll look forward to the party in the public square tonight. Bring a lawn chair, bring a winter coat. You're going to have a public screening of Blue Jays Game 4.
Yep, there you go. See you there, people.
Look forward to it. Thanks, Mayor McCabe.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Waterloo Mayor Dorothy McCabe letting us know where we can watch the game with a public viewing party in the Uptown tonight. Just don't pull the plug before the game comes to an end. Even if it goes till 3 a.m, you keep that sucker going. Just thinking of council meetings and sporting events. I remember being at a regional council meeting many years ago. The late, great Jim Weidman was a councillor. He was a big Leafs fan like I was. It must have been during the LRT stuff. Anyway, the Leafs won a game that night, and he gave an update in council to some applause from the gallery, which is frowned upon, but it was a Leafs update during a regional council meeting. We're going to talk more about regional council just after this 9:30 news update and the 5% target for a budget increase. How are we looking? What kind of sacrifices might we be making locally? And I had promised, so I'm going to have to save this because I'm more than happy. You want to talk some Blue Jays this morning. That's what we did. But Ontario Premier Doug Ford said something yesterday that I found irresistible. He called that anti-tariff Ronald Reagan TV ad that he had produced and aired in the United States the best ad ever in the history of North America. Mr. Premier, far be it from me to disagree, but I could think of a few that I thought were more impactful than the anti-tariff ad. So we'll have some fun with some classic commercials as well. See if you can name that product at some point this morning. I promise we'll get to that. I mean, I didn't prepare it for nothing on a few hours sleep. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. We told you this morning during the Farwell Show 5, a little more than 10 minutes ago, that the city of Cambridge and its strong mayor's budget proposal comes in at just under 5%, 4.86 to be exact, is the number that Cambridge councillors will start working from. And that's right around the number that has been proposed as a ceiling for our regional budget this year. It was Regional Councillor Michael Harris, one of the councillors representing Kitchener, back in the spring, who said, we need to bring in a budget for 2026 at no greater than a 5% tax increase. Well, regional councillors are getting a first look at that proposed budget for 2026, and it appears as though it's possible to meet that number. Jim Erb is a regional councillor representing Waterloo and joins us to talk more about it. Jim, good morning.
Morning, Mike.
What do you think of the numbers you have seen so far?
We're hoping it's attainable. Every year we say this is going to be a difficult budget year. This year is no different. I think the difference this year is council did ask staff to look at every line possible, find efficiencies, and see that we could still maintain the essential services that we have to do, but come in at 5%. So by giving them a target, I think it might be a bit more of a challenge this year than it has been in previous years.
As a community, Jim, should we be expecting cuts in this year's budget, trying to get under that 5% number?
We're not going to be able to give everything to everybody. There's just no question about that. However, the region does provide some essentials. All governments provide essential services, but in particular, the region provides some essential services such as garbage collection, public health, childcare, water, paramedic services, transit. And these are services that many in our community rely on who may not be in an economic position that other people are in to afford their own vehicles, where they don't have to rely on public transit, where they don't need childcare. And so we need to maintain those essential services for people in our community and look at creating other ways that we can streamline and create some efficiencies.
When we look at something like transit, Jim, I know we've got declining ridership and revenues for Grand River Transit based primarily on a lower number of international students. And even overall, regional staff are projecting lower than anticipated assessment growth this year because the community is not growing as fast as it once did. I remember last year the number being thrown around is basically we added a city of Stratford to the region of Waterloo, and we had to accommodate and pay, really, for that kind of growth. So will we see things like transit, for example, maybe not getting increases to its funding, and what we have is what we will have to live with for the foreseeable future?
I think the reality is, Mike, that we're probably not going to be able to expand services beyond what's required in the community. The federal government made some significant changes in newcomers coming to our community, and that's affected the transit budget significantly. We're now facing over a $10 million shortfall in revenue for ridership. So expansion of services, I think, is going to be one of the things that we're going to have to look at very seriously in transit. And can we continue to expand routes, or are we going to have to hold it in line based on the numbers in ridership and the new reality in the population in our community? In previous years, our assessment was approximately 2.2%. This year, the target is at 1.5%. So that's a significant difference from previous years.
Is there anything in the budget, Jim, that you would not be willing to see reduced, no matter what? A hard line that you would draw?
The homelessness budget, those that are most vulnerable in our community who really need our support. Unfortunately, we're not getting the kind of transfer payments from the provincial government that we would like to have. And so the region has always been stepping up to the plate and adding what needs to be. So I want us to be able to look after those in our community who are of the greatest need. Homelessness has increased approximately 24% year over year in the last 3 or 4 years. And so it's a significant impact. And, we want to be able to keep people out of hospitals, not using paramedic services, not being incarcerated. And we can do a much easier job or a much better job and for less expense by trying to house them. So for me, a sacred cow would be the homelessness and an affordable housing file.
You're certainly no stranger to budget time on municipal councils. It's not the first time you've gone through this. What is it that makes this year particularly difficult for budgeting?
I think the affordability for the community at large is a significant issue. There's a significant uncertainty in the climate economically, given what's happening in the tariff conversation. So affordability for people with a 7% unemployment rate in the region, rents that are rising approximately 6% a year. So affordability for people is a significant issue that we have to deal with given the uncertainty of the economic climate that we're currently experiencing.
Can you walk us through the budget process from here, Jim? I know that councillors have received this overview, which does, give us that benchmark that's been set, a proposed tax hike of 4.94%. But you got to get into the weeds on this and really start going through it in greater detail. How does the process play out over the next couple of months?
Some of the line-by-line work begins next week. There's going to be a couple public information sessions where people can come and speak directly to council in November and December at regional headquarters. Plus, there's going to be public sessions in the township of Woolwich and in the city of Cambridge. The final decision will be made about the middle of December. There's opportunities for people to express their opinions on the Waterloo Regional Engage website. So hopefully we'll be getting the people will feel that they're having some opportunity for input in these variety of sessions. We're going to be into it heavy the first and second weeks of December, with the final budget day, I think, being on December the 16th.
Jim, I really appreciate you making time for the show this morning. Thank you very much for being here.
Okay, Mike. All the best.
You as well. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Jim Erb is a regional councillor who represents the city of Waterloo, one of two Waterloo councillors on our 16-member regional council. They've had their first glance at the regional budget. You'll remember last spring it was regional councillor Michael Harris, one of four Kitchener representatives on regional council, who said, look, we got to come in at 5% or less. That target was set several months ago because you'll also remember that the two previous years were double-digit increases. One was just over, one was just under, if I recall correctly. But we were right around 10% for 2 years running. And that just gets to be the kind of community that is increasingly unaffordable. And I'm sure you have heard, like I, anecdotally, I'll grant you, but nonetheless, it's been happening. Folks saying, look, it's too darned expensive to live there or to live here. And they have gone to other places where it is less expensive to live. And that goes across the board. It's not just the 10% annual tax increase. It's where that, what that baseline is that the 10% is being added on to, for example. I've got a buddy that's been looking for a place, and he's not been looking in Ontario. He's looking at a lot of Alberta, but every time he sends me a listing, I like to check out the property taxes. And honest to goodness, I get it. Every community is different. Every province is different. It just goes on from there. But a fraction, really, of what we pay for property taxes here in the region of Waterloo or in Toronto more generally. We've got a lot going for us in this community. This has always been my home. I intend on making it my home for as many, many years into the future. But I would be lying if I did not admit to you the affordability crunch that we feel. It's just different. Our dollars that we're earning are not going as far. And part of that, I remember having this conversation with a friend who who was kind of making fun of me because I knew exactly how much I pay in property tax. I said, well, who doesn't know how much they pay in property tax? He didn't know how much he paid in property tax, which indicates to me that he is of an income level where it doesn't matter. Good for him. But for an average schmuck like me, I can tell you exactly how much I pay in property tax and then exactly how much it's gone up. And since purchasing the home that we still live in back in 2014, the overall increase from what we were paying then in property tax to what we are paying today is greater than 30%. 30% overall. That would be your municipal, so in our case, the city of Kitchener, your regional taxes. When everything gets lumped in, we're up more than 30% over the past 11 years. I think it's easy to see through that lens how at some point it becomes entirely unaffordable to stay in the home that we're currently in, because I can tell you what hasn't gone up more than 30% in the last 11 years, and that is my salary. I'm not blaming anybody for that. I'm just telling you the reality of the numbers. When it comes to our regional budget, is there anything, and you heard Jim Erb talk about this, for him, it's the plan to end chronic homelessness. That is kind of that no-fly zone. You can't be cutting from that. Anything that supports our most vulnerable residents is where he would draw the hard line. We must keep supporting the most vulnerable in our community. I might add to that, it shouldn't be entirely the responsibility of the municipality to take care of the most vulnerable. You heard Jim allude to those transfer payments that aren't what they once were in this community, where the province doesn't provide as much, the feds don't provide as much, etc. Really interesting conversation yesterday, if you were listening into it, on Now You Know with Rob Snow after I got off the air. And Rob was talking about the idea of a universal basic income and numbers from our parliamentary budget officer in Ottawa that said if you took the basket of various programs that were designed to help the most vulnerable, you could tally it up to $75 billion. What if you were able to eliminate all of those programs and everything in that basket and replace it with one program that provides a universal basic income to everybody who needs it? Again, just going back to something that Councillor Jim Erb said, when we're protecting the most vulnerable and creating programs and providing services to them, if it keeps them out of hospitals, if it keeps them out of the court system, those are wins financially for our community, our province, our country. So you think about that. I think the $75 billion that Rob was talking about yesterday is just starting to scratch the surface when you get into the number of healthcare visits that are occurring for people who are living on the margins, the number of interactions with our court system, our police departments, you name it. I mean, it just goes on and on from there. And it makes the idea. I haven't made my mind up entirely on it, but I can certainly be swayed by the universal basic income argument based on that idea, where you've got a basket of all of these programs and services being offered, totaling $75 billion, probably more dollars. And you could replace it and lead to better outcomes with one program that provides a universal basic income across the board. Bit of a tangent, I apologize, but learned a lot listening, and it was a really good conversation on Rob's show yesterday afternoon. Back to the matter at hand. The proposal that regional councillors are looking at suggests a tax increase regionally of 4.94% for next year. So coming in under that 5%, which was the benchmark set several months ago. Is that a number that satisfies you, 4.94%? Your regional tax increase, your municipal tax increase, whatever township or city in the region you're living in, would be added to that as well. And I don't believe this would take into account the police budget either, which was in the news this morning. How do you feel about 4.94% by way of increase? That's about double inflation for what it's worth. Is there anything in the budget that you would draw the hard line against, saying you cannot cut here? Your thoughts always welcome on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
I think the affordability for the community at large is a significant issue. So affordability for people with a 7% unemployment rate in the region, rents that are rising approximately 6% a year. So affordability for people is a significant issue that we have to deal with given the uncertainty of the economic climate that we're currently experiencing.
Regional Councillor Jim Erb joining us this morning to talk about the regional budget. The document that regional councillors have been shown a preview of, and a document that proposes a 4.94% tax increase for 2026, which is in line with what was requested last spring. Let's bring in a budget that is under 5%. There are changes, obviously. We have not grown nearly as fast as we did. I will allude again to that line from a year ago at budget time when it was pointed out that our community grew at a pace that we essentially added the city of Stratford to our community and said, okay, now pay for it. Ridership is down at Grand River Transit, which means revenue is down at Grand River Transit, which likely means there will not be any new routes added to Grand River Transit anytime soon. There might even be routes eliminated given the decreased demand for transit service. Again, we're talking some pretty high-level stuff. Councillors are about to get into the weeds of the regional budget over the next couple of months. But this is a really interesting email from one of our longtime regular listeners who writes to Mike at 570news.com. Mike, my full CPP payment received is currently equal to my property taxes. That's crazy. And I sent back to ask, does that mean the CPP is too much or the taxes are too much? I think it's the latter. I mean, and so just think about that for somebody who only has their CPP to rely on. So if that's your primary source of income, obviously that fixed income, I think CPP is indexed though, right? But either way, if your Canada Pension Plan payment is required, the entirety of it, just to pay your property taxes every year, well, then you're in a whole heap of trouble, aren't you? Because there's nothing left over for the other things that you might need to survive, i.e. food. What about medications, etc.? So that certainly does not sound to me like an equation that is long-lasting. I want to take a moment, and I know this isn't a regional service, but as our municipalities go through this process of budgeting, it's that time of the season, can I throw my plug in again for the elimination of the wasteful curbside leaf collection program? My buddy Dan sent me a message last night because he got the flyer in the mail. Good job, Canada Post, by the way, but reminding him that the leaf collection had once again returned to his neighborhood, and here's what you can do, et cetera, et cetera. We've got to stop the madness here. Like, if you're looking for a place to save some money, you could easily eliminate this entirely unnecessary service. If you want to still have the trucks come by and pick them up when they get bagged at the curbside, that's one thing. But this whole notion of raking them onto the street so the heavy machinery can come by and suck up and cart away all of the leaves is just, it's preposterous to me in almost 2026, given our intentions. We've stated these intentions to cut down on emissions. We've declared climate emergencies, and yet we're going to still put out all this heavy equipment just to take away leaves that could be left right where they fall. You've got to stop this at some point, please. I feel like I'm screaming into the autumn wind every year on this, but we've got to make a change to this program. I know that's not regional, but when our municipalities are getting into their budgets, take a look at that leaf line item, okay? An update from the 570 News Center is on the way, and then 10% additional tariffs because Trump throws a tantrum. Now what? This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. According to Flavio Volpe, the head of the Automotive Parts Manufacturers Association, he has just cost American consumers $50 billion because he didn't like a TV ad. But nonetheless, U.S. President Donald Trump has said 10% additional tariffs for you, Canada, because you are so difficult to deal with. And oh yeah, by the way, I did not like that television ad that you aired for a couple of days. Stuart Trew is a senior researcher with the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives and joins us for a conversation this morning. Stuart, good morning.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
I'm doing all right, thanks. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Good. How much of the ball game did you stay up for last night?
Oh, everything till the last half inning. So I didn't see the
oh my gosh,
disappointing ending.
You went that far. Oh, Stu, you're a good man. I tapped out bottom of the 11th.
I know it was getting late. And then when they couldn't get anything in that inning, I was like, no, this is it. This is over. I'm going to bed.
So close. Well, that's okay. You saved yourself the heartbreak, right?
Exactly.
To the matter at hand. I mean, everybody's talking Blue Jays this morning, but we are also very focused on tariffs. This relationship between Canada and the U.S. Let's start with the additional 10% that Donald Trump says is now being applied to Canada. What do you make of this response from the U.S. president?
Yeah, I think this was. I kind of feel that he was upset. I think we should take him seriously when he says that he was a little pissed off about the ad, and that's where this is coming from. I don't think it's a serious threat. It has no basis. I mean, not that other of his tariffs have had firm basis in reality or in law, but in this case, it's very much off the cuff. It would be too much hassle, I think, at this point for him to ask his border agents to kind of adjust everything again. I don't see it coming into an effect. And even if it did, I don't think it would have that much of an effect, to be honest. Like, if you think about 50% on steel and aluminum, which is what we're facing now, that's already pretty prohibitive. In the case of steel, it's very bad. In the case of aluminum, they're selling into the U.S. market anyway because as Trump keeps putting tariffs on, the price keeps going up, and they need the stuff, right? So I don't think it would have a huge effect on those sectoral tariffs. And it wouldn't have an effect on the universal tariff that he's threatened, right? This 35%, because it's not enforced, right? It doesn't apply to goods that comply with this Canada-U.S.-Mexico agreement. So I think it was an empty threat. It's a sign of annoyance, maybe. But at the same time, I really don't think this deal is going to come together. I'm getting pretty nervous, right, that we're not going to end up with anything, even on steel, aluminum, and maybe energy, whatever that looks like. And I'm a little worried about this review of the Canada-U.S.-Mexico coming up next year. I think Trump is really soured on Canada. I don't think he cares. I think he's dealing with other issues like China. It's not looking good for Canada in the sense of coming to a deal with this person. So I do think we're finally in that mode where we have to start getting serious about the alternatives. And I haven't seen a ton of that from the government yet. We've been hinting at it, that we're going to do this. We need some more supports for the industry. We need to think about a government-directed or supported industrial shift. We haven't seen the details of what that would look like yet, mostly just kind of corporate profit padding and some support for workers. And I think we need the government to step forward and say, where are we going to go as a country for some of these most impacted sectors?
You talk about the Canada-U.S.-Mexico agreement, CUSMA, and I'm glad you are, because that's what leads to this conversation this morning. I've been wondering about this for a little while, and you are far more learned than I when it comes to these sorts of things, Stuart. But what is it that, perhaps beyond Donald Trump's erratic behavior, what is it that makes you nervous about this agreement and the review of it?
Yeah, I just think for one thing, the agreement is not really worth anything to Canada if these so-called national security tariffs are going to remain in place. These are the Section 232 tariffs that affect aluminum, steel, copper, and derivative products, so steel pipe, copper pipe, copper wire. They're going to come down on pharmaceuticals. They've hit our trucks, right? Truck companies are closing in Quebec to go to the States because of these Section 232 tariffs. None of that is going away. All of it violates the Canada-U.S.-Mexico agreement that we negotiated with the first Trump presidency. So to me, that just indicates that it's gone, right? The agreement might as well not exist. And we shouldn't feel obliged to negotiate ourselves back into something if all of these tariffs are going to remain in place. And I think we can say definitively that they are going to stay in place. If you look at the deals that Trump is coming to with Japan or the UK or Europe, or now this week, Malaysia and Cambodia, they all include high tariffs on access to the U.S. market. So why would we negotiate a single line of text on things like, digital trade, or how we regulate big U.S. tech companies, for example, or supply management of Canadian agricultural sectors? Why would we agree to anything if the tariffs are eventually going to produce a trickle of investment out of this country into the United States? It's a non-starter for me, and I don't think Trump is interested in continuing this agreement, which has also this dispute settlement process that he also doesn't like, right? I mean, that's one thing that's been important for Canada this whole time with the United States, is we want a way to actually sort our differences out, our trade differences, through some kind of quote-unquote objective, arbitration system. And Trump is indicating very strongly that world is dead for the United States. There's no dispute settlement process in the Malaysia deal, the Cambodia deal, the European deal. It's just, here's what we agree to do. You pay tariffs on everything you export into the U.S., and if we don't like something you're doing, we're going to raise tariffs again. So this is the new future we're dealing with, and so that's why I feel we cannot put our eggs in that CUSMA basket. It's not serving us well right now, and we can't rely on it continuing in the future.
So if we're not putting our eggs into that CUSMA basket, where should Canada be putting its eggs? What does the right play look like here for Canada?
Yeah. Well, to some extent, there's things we export that we're going to continue to export, even to the United States, even with tariffs, right? So I'm thinking of oil, especially, right? I mean, that's our largest export right now. So for better or worse, I'm among the people who think we need to be transitioning off of a dependence on fossil fuel exports, because obviously we can't keep burning oil and gas with the world we live in. But nonetheless, there are products like that we will continue to go to the United States because they need them. I think aluminum is one of those. They're still buying it at 50%. It does stress the industry out. But I think what we have to focus on is building things that countries want to buy, right? And that includes the United States. And it needn't be just hard products that move physically across borders. We can offer services as well. And there are areas where we could be shifting more attention, right? I mean, in terms of services related to natural disaster responses. We know that extreme weather problems are increasing, right? So this is an area where we could develop some expertise. Infrastructure, right? Rebuilding things after disasters, building up renewable energy. We have some capacity in that, right? With respect to the not just batteries, but I'm talking about the infrastructure, the electricity grids, and so on and so forth. These are services that we'll need in Canada for the long run, and they're services we can export as well to other countries that need that expertise. And then we have to be thinking about our industrial base. So if we're no longer producing entirely for export to the U.S., which is essentially what the auto sector does now, it's branch plants that produce basically copies of things they make in the States, trucks, big trucks and SUVs. If that's no longer possible, we need to be thinking about repurposing that. Now, whether it is for, the Canadian market's not that big. We obviously wouldn't replace the size of the U.S. market, but it's not small either, right? So we could be thinking about producing different types of vehicles, Canadian-made vehicles, and buses and streetcars and trains, right? Things that we need across the country and municipalities across this country. We have decades worth of work if we wanted to build out all the trains and buses and other electrified infrastructure we need. This is just work for decades, literally, and Canadian-made product, right? So if we only had some kind of coordinated strategy, federal, provincial, municipal, we could keep people working for ages building this stuff and getting it installed in our cities. And that would make the cities better, make it a nicer place for everyone to live, and businesses start to invest. So we don't have no options, is what I'm saying, Mike, is we have a lot of options, but they're not going to be found in Washington. We don't have to keep Dominic LeBlanc, our minister there, camped out, in his tent, wherever he's staying, right, on the edge of the White House, with his coffee. We can bring him home, and we don't have to put all of our eggs in that U.S. basket. We have options.
It's a great perspective, and I'm so glad we could get it on the show today. Stuart, get some rest after that late night, early morning with the Blue Jays, and thanks very much for making time for the show.
Oh, I really appreciate it. Thanks, Mike. Great talking.
Enjoy your day. Bye now.
You too. Bye.
Stuart Trew is with the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives. He is a senior researcher there. And if I can put it into my own nutshell here, to heck with you. A pox on your house, a pox on your White House, United States. Canada can go its own way, if you'll forgive the Fleetwood Mac riff in that regard. We don't need you, United States. And let's be honest, with what has been happening since Donald Trump returned to the Oval Office, CUSMA, as we know it, the Canada-US-Mexico Agreement, or the USMCA, take your pick of which way you want to describe it, but is that agreement worth the paper that it's printed on, presuming it was ever printed on paper? That agreement that we negotiated with Donald Trump when he was first in the Oval Office is pretty much worthless now anyway. So maybe Canada's best response is domesticating production. It sounds almost a little bit on the protectionist side, but we do have the capacity here, right? Maybe it's time for that domestic automobile manufacturer, the Aero that has been talked so much about. How do you think we should respond to Donald Trump and this latest escalation of the tariff war? What's the best response for Canada? And is Doug Ford to blame for all of this because of the ad he ran in the United States? 519-570-2545, star 570, 1-800-570-5715. What do we have a better chance of? Negotiating a new deal with Donald Trump, or Shohei Ohtani of the Los Angeles Dodgers slipping on a banana peel today and not being ready to pitch tonight? No, wait, I'll put that aside. I'm still focused a little bit. We're all focused a little bit on the Blue Jays, but we're going to set aside that distraction for the moment and talk about the very serious issue facing this country. How do you want Canada to respond to this latest tariff threat from the United States? We'll get to your calls right after this on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
There's no dispute settlement process in the Malaysia deal, the Cambodia deal, the European deal. It's just, here's what we agree to do. You pay tariffs on everything you export into the U.S. And if we don't like something you're doing, we're going to raise tariffs again. So this is the new future we're dealing with. And so that's why I feel we cannot put our eggs in that CUSMA basket. It's not serving us well right now, and we can't rely on it continuing in the future.
Stuart Trew is a senior researcher with the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives, essentially saying Canada has to carve out its own path here. Let's just get Dominic LeBlanc out of Washington, bring him back home. He's not doing us any good there. We need to find new frontiers for trade in the face of an erratic president in the Oval Office and tariffs that just seem to increase on a whim. How do you think Canada should respond to this latest threat from the United States? Let's get to the phones and get your thoughts on this. Ibrahim, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, Canada shouldn't respond to anything. The Prime Minister, still he didn't criticize Doug Ford. He didn't do anything. He's doing a good job. Quietly and consolatory way, really. But it's not. Donald Trump is the person you can't dealing with him the way Doug Ford did. He controlled damage now for federal government. He should know even his limitation, Mike. He's a premium of Ontario, not for Canada. Now, he damaged really everything for the federal government. Really, the prime minister is doing fine. They quietly, they're doing. Even last time when he visited the White House, well, Donald Trump, he was good. You know, he said, he spoke. He said, "Oh, we're competing in one market." That's the reason he said our neighbors in Canada and we're in car industry. That's the reason he said we don't like each other sometimes.
So, Ibrahim, are you saying though we should continue and strengthen our relationship, our trading relationship with the United States?
Mike, what now? Our prime minister, how many times he said, Mike, the guest you have, he said we have two alternatives.
Yes.
But until we build the alternative, Mike, that's what he's doing. He's traveling around the world. He's trying to make more.
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what. Until that, we have to deal with them,
All right, Ibrahim, thank you for that. So Ibrahim believes in the direction that Mark Carney, our prime minister, is taking, traveling the world, forging other relationships. The big challenge, of course, is going to be the length of time it takes to get this in place. It's not going to happen overnight. Sean, what do you think? How would you like Canada to respond to this latest tariff threat?
Well, I think I've expressed my opinion on Donald Trump many times before. He's basically running the United States like a mafia don. You have to pay for access. He's unstable. And, even if he was to be gone in a couple of months, the people that elected him are still going to be there. I think Mark Carney's doing the correct thing. He's getting out. He's going to Asia. He's going to Europe. We have to spread ourselves out. Like, people are saying, oh, he's not coming home with deals immediately. But, you have to do diplomacy. You have to talk to people. You've got to build bridges. And we have to somehow build bridges with other countries because we got ourselves into a trap here with the U.S. We got to get out of it somehow. So, yeah, we have. And as for our prime minister, as for our premier, why Donald Trump has reacted so badly to this ad? Because it's true. Ronald Reagan was against tariffs. And the reason I'm telling, and they don't think people are going to take the 5 minutes to actually watch it, because if you watch the whole video, it's even more against tariffs.
All right, Sean, appreciate the call and the thoughts on that. Again, agreeing with the approach so far. Brenda, what do you think?
Oh, I like what our prime minister is doing to get other markets. Trump, you can't negotiate with a narcissist, thug, dictator. But I would have done tariff per tariff. I would have matched. And I like Doug Ford approach. I read the whole thing on X, which I wasn't aware of, that speech that was made. And I support Doug Ford because it was true what I read.
All right, Brenda. So that would have been the full text of Ronald Reagan's speech. As Sean just alluded to, Ronald Reagan was against tariffs and protectionism. He was very much a free trade president. And Brenda says, not only do I approve of Prime Minister Carney's approach, because why try to negotiate with a narcissistic thug, she also says Doug Ford's doing a great job. Let's hear from Francis next. Good morning, Francis.
Good morning. You heard my view yesterday, and I'll just continue on. As far as, yes, I agree. But there's things that we can do ourselves. I was driving by a number of orchards. Now, and I know it's against the law. They say you cannot pick anything that's fallen off of trees and that you can use it. Well, that's a pile of crap because we used to pick it up and make apple butter. And I'll tell you, that's a lot of good nourishment as far as wasting things because of some stupid laws that are out that I feel is. And the other thing is, we have I don't know what kind of metal our railway tracks are made of, but why don't we start making rails and put down some tracks, and that way would make use of our material and put a lot of people to work. And with that, I say God bless.
God bless, Francis. Thank you very much for the call. Very similar to what our guest from the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives had to say. Rail, transit, vehicles. Let's repatriate manufacturing. Let's make these things domestically, put people to work, keep people working in the production environments that provide those materials, and then build better cities as a result. Interesting times indeed. Maybe in that way of thinking, Donald Trump is just doing us all a big fat favor. I'm going to get you to the 570 News Center for an update. And then kids in our Catholic school system who had been taking French Immersion through the Holy Rosary School will not be moved after all. We'll check in on the latest in this saga coming up on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. You may remember a few weeks back, we had a conversation on our show about changes that the Waterloo Catholic District School Board was proposing to make to its French Immersion program. The primary change would be a change in venue for the program, moving it from Holy Rosary School to St. Nicholas, which would be an inconvenience, to say the very least, for parents whose children had been attending Holy Rosary and receiving the French Immersion program through that school. Lisa Russell was one of the vocal parents who brought this story to our attention and advocated to the school board to leave things the way they were. And Lisa joins us again this morning. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks very much for making the time. It sounds as though your advocacy has borne some fruit here, and the Catholic School Board has decided to leave the French Immersion program at Holy Rosary.
Absolutely. So right from the beginning, it just wasn't a data-backed decision, and I think that's where our community had a lot of contention with the board. Because ultimately the way this decision came about and what the data was saying, it just didn't make sense to us. So ultimately, a group of parents, we used our voices, we advocated strongly, and we did get the board to pause the decision. So they are moving forward with a boundary review, which we feel should have been done from the start.
How did you first learn, Lisa, of the board's plan to relocate French Immersion to St. Nicholas from Holy Rosary?
Yeah, so we actually found out as a community when they put it in their agenda the Friday before the September 22nd board meeting. And this was put in the agenda as an operational decision. There was no consultation with the school, with parents, with the community, or with trustees.
What was the process like for you from that point in terms of becoming this advocate, figuring out how to advocate, et cetera? What was that like?
Yeah, it was pretty relentless, and we really stepped up to that demand because ultimately they did come out and say this isn't about whether or not the program's moving, it's about how it's going to move. This decision has been made. So we really felt that we had an uphill battle here. So, you know, it's amazing how community can come together and ultimately use their own unique skills. And we really picked apart the data, and we demanded more of the board in terms of their decision making. This was a closed door decision, and ultimately we demanded more accountability and transparency. So we felt we needed to get really loud in order to be heard because we weren't given the opportunity to have a voice prior to the decision being made.
Why do you feel so strongly that French Immersion should remain at Holy Rosary?
You know, when we look at like the impact on students and their learning, this doesn't align with the values that most of us have and that are touted by the WCDSB. So ultimately, I think it goes beyond French Immersion to and just speaks to decision makers and how they're going about decisions and not, enlisting the voices of the community. That's what really drove us and drove the point home to the board, is this wasn't the way to go about this. As far as French Immersion itself, I mean, this is a really close-knit community, and this is something that should be celebrated and not torn apart.
With the upcoming boundary review, which you thought should have been done prior to any decision being made about where French Immersion should be located, either at Holy Rosary or St. Nicholas, is Holy Rosary, as it stands today, Lisa, a school that's over capacity?
Yeah, it is a school that's over capacity, and there's a big problem within the board and across the board of this overcapacity problem. And that's another thing that's kind of been highlighted through this process is, yes, the board's in a very difficult situation, but a lot of us feel that they've put themselves in this situation in terms of enrollment. So we see enrollment increasing exponentially in the Catholic board, but we see it stagnant at the public board or even declining at the public board. So ultimately, I think there's more to be explored here in terms of what the real solutions are. And so a lot of people in this process said that the Catholic board actually has a really high percentage, and some people positioned as high as 60% of non-Catholics in the board. So the board really sees this as a good problem to have. But when you're in the schools and you're seeing the overcapacity, you're seeing, endless portables being placed, this is not a good problem for our students. It may allow the board to, build new schools and access funding, but for us, this is not a good problem. And so that's another issue that really needs to be highlighted here. There's an imbalance in the system.
What have you learned going through this process?
Oh, gosh, that's a very broad question. I think it's important to be active citizens, not just at the school board level, but every level. I think it's very easy to be overwhelmed by all the information that's out there, but we really do need to hold decision makers accountable. We need to understand the processes that they need to follow, the policies that are in place, and we do need to advocate for better decision making, again, not just at the board level, but ultimately at every level of government.
Did you have any allies within the board in all of this, Lisa, a trustee or anything like that, or were you dealing directly with the decision makers at the school board?
Yeah, it was a very frustrating process because ultimately we really felt that a lot of the individuals at the board, including the trustees, were very much silenced in communicating with us. I did have some direct communication on a few occasions with the interim director, Annalisa Verano. I reached out to the superintendent and didn't get a call back. We actually even went as far as trying to get the minister, Paul Calandra, attention on this matter, and again, didn't hear back. So it was a very disheartening experience. We did have trustees that were listening to us. We suspect that they weren't able to engage in the way that they maybe would have liked to, but we did have trustees that did listen to our concerns, and that was helpful for sure.
So you mentioned at the outset that this is a decision that has been paused. There is no imminent plan to relocate French Immersion to St. Nicholas from Holy Rosary, where your child and others in your family groups are taking advantage of French Immersion. But again, I'll go back to that word paused. How confident are you, Lisa, that things will remain this way? Or do you now have to be watching every single, school board agenda to make sure this doesn't show up again sometime?
I think we'll be watching regardless. I think a lot of us have been awoken to ultimately pay attention to what's going on. But we do have the understanding, there was a board meeting last night, and the director did say that this will come up in the spring of next year, the boundary review process. And we know that the French Immersion program may be part of that process. Or that decision. And so, I think what we did as parents as well is we did a parent-led survey. And what that showed is really the decision that they were going to go forth with, that would only allow for 6 children per class, per grade that were willing to move to St. Nicholas. So this, again, just wasn't a data-backed decision. So I do hope going forward they are relying more on data and looking at longer-term solutions, because this ultimately would have only provided relief for 2 years. So they may feel that they have a really good problem to be solved with this overcapacity, but ultimately it's going to require some creative solutions for sure.
Lisa, I really appreciate the work that you did to reverse this decision, earn this pause. I know it's not easy, and obviously you and other parents were involved in this, but I think it's a great example of stepping up, not just for your kids, but to, intervene where you don't think democracy is being served. I think that's commendable. So kudos to you for doing that, and thanks very much for making time for the show today.
Thanks so much, Mike.
Lisa Russell is a parent at Holy Rosary Catholic Elementary School, where French Immersion will continue to be delivered for students. There was a plan, just showed up as an item on an agenda. Parents became aware of it, and they advocated to keep French Immersion at Holy Rosary instead of having it relocated to another school. And this is, as I said, a great example, I think, of parents being involved in their children's education, calling out a decision that they say was not data-driven, and getting results, which, look, there is never going to be, ever anywhere, government or otherwise, an organization that makes the right decision every single time. The willingness to reverse course when you realize that the impacts of this may be greater than you first thought, I think that is commendable as well. So kudos to the Catholic School Board in this regard for being responsive. Now, I don't know that kudos should be extended to the Catholic School Board for treating this issue the way that it initially did. It sounds like the board forgot for a moment that it is in service to the public, to the students within the system, and just made this decision without any consultation with the impacted parties. I hope the board has learned something from that. And again, I would say kudos for being willing to reverse course here, press pause, reevaluate, and hopefully, as the board moves forward, it does so by gathering necessary data and gathering input from stakeholders in all of this. It only makes sense. But I'll come back to what the parents were able to accomplish in this regard. And if you'll forgive me beating a familiar drum, I think, though, it's applicable here. This is an example of how parents who are involved in their children's lives and education can affect change at the school board level without even the support of trustees at that board, the elected representatives. And this argument has been made, and it's one that I'm very open to, when we talk about the elimination of elected boards of trustees. I understand the arguments that it's an important part of our local democracy, local representation, et cetera. But I would submit to you, and I think this is a case study for this argument, that parents, families can accomplish things at a school board even absent the elected trustee. Lisa told us about talking directly to the acting director of education at the Catholic School Board, reaching out to the Minister of Education himself, Paul Calandra, reaching out to a superintendent at the school board. Now, granted, neither the superintendent nor the Minister of Education was responsive, but parents can go directly there. It's kind of like skipping the step of the elected trustee sort of in the middle. And through the conversations with elected trustees, it sounded as though they felt handcuffed or unable to provide support in this regard. So I would just ask the question, and I ask it honestly and with sincerity in my heart. Do we need elected boards of trustees for school boards in this province? I'm not sure that we do. I think it's a layer of governance that we could probably do without. Again, hoping that the board in this case has learned the lesson about consulting with the public, consulting with the people impacted by decisions, instead of just putting something on an agenda that a parent comes across and says, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. Wouldn't it have been great if it was a trustee that said, hang on a second here, what's happening and how is this going to impact people in my neighborhood, right? I just think this is an example of how we could survive, believe it or not, without this additional layer of governance, the school board trustee layer of governance. I think we could do without, quite frankly. I know the education ministry here in Ontario is toying with a number of things. I know that they dismissed the leader of the Catholic School Board in This is the Board of Trustees, the elected board in Brantford after that trip to Italy and the $100,000 in public art that was bought and all of these different things. It has to be done when you see behavior like that. The education ministry had to step in. And I wonder if a reform of boards of trustees as we know them is in the offing for this education ministry. And that is something I would wholeheartedly support. I really would. And while we're at it, can we have the conversation again? Are we open enough to the conversation again about why we have 4 essentially school boards in this province, publicly funded? The public board, the French public board, the Catholic board, the French Catholic board. Shouldn't we have one publicly funded board of education in this province? John Tory tried that back in around 2009. Didn't take then. Didn't go over well at all. I wonder if in 2026 we aren't a little bit closer to being open enough to have that conversation. Just some higher level thoughts from this seat as we talk about education and how things work in our communities. But kudos to those families of students at Holy Rosary Catholic Elementary School for helping the Catholic School Board recognize the error of its ways and advocating to keep a program in place where it makes sense to have the program operating, the French Immersion program. We're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, when is the last time we have sent somebody directly to jackwagon jail? Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. And oh yeah, by the way, we're locking you up and throwing away the key. I think we have our candidate for this Tuesday, the 28th of October. I'll tell you about him coming up. It's a him. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. We are always on the alert on this show for jackwagonry. I mean, the simple rule, and I think we could all do with following this on a daily basis, couldn't we? Don't be a jackwagon. Like, it's pretty simple. If we got up every morning and simply said, as we pour that first cup of coffee, you know what? I mean, you can say this to your spouse. If you have a spouse in the house, you can say this to your dog. I talk to my dog all the time. I don't know about you. Say it to your cat. Say it to your hamster. Say it to your goldfish. Say it to yourself aloud in your empty home, if that's the home you live in. Whatever the case is, you're pouring that cup of coffee in the morning. Okay, fine. Pour a tea. See if I care. Drinking tea doesn't make you a jackwagon. But as you pour that beverage in the morning, whatever your beverage of choice is, just say out loud, I'm not going to be a jackwagon today. And then go about your day not doing jackwagon things. We have not for some time, because we're always on the lookout for jackwagonry on this show, but we have not for some time sentenced someone to a long time in jackwagon jail. Well, that time has passed because this 21-year-old man from Guelph is going directly to jackwagon jail. He is not passing go. He is not collecting $200. We're going to lock him up and we're going to throw away the key because this 21-year-old driver, young man, boy, let me tell you, if you came home to my house or if you had been in my house, some rules I hope would have prevented this kind of jackwagonry. He was pulled over by police in Guelph at 1 o'clock on Saturday morning. So if that had happened this morning, it would have happened about 2 hours before the Blue Jays game ended, okay? But 1 o'clock on Saturday morning on Stone Road East in Guelph, this man was pulled over driving, are you ready for it, 161 kilometers per hour in a 40 zone. That, my friend, is 4 times the legal speed limit. But wait, there's more. When police pulled him over for speeding and approached the vehicle, they detected the odor of alcohol, ended up conducting a roadside test. The guy blows over, and a search of the vehicle reveals 30 empty beer cans and a used cannabis pipe and a vaporizer beside the driver's seat. His car has been impounded, and he has been charged with impaired driving. Thank you, Guelph Police, for your service in this regard. And to the 21-year-old driver, you are going to jackwagon jail. Something that I was preparing for the show today, and then when we started, we got talking about the Blue Jays, which I totally understand because we're still feeling, well, not just a little tired, but what a game. We're feeling the excitement of World Series fever. So we didn't get to it at the beginning of the show. But in the next 30 minutes, I promise you we're going to do this because Ontario Premier Doug Ford defended yesterday at Queen's Park his television ad that got Donald Trump so angry. And Premier Ford called his ad the greatest ad in the history of North America. That caught my attention. I mean, that's a pretty bold statement. And then I thought to myself, hang on a second. Aren't there other ads that were really, really good ads that we might remember today, even though they came out decades ago? Maybe those were the greatest ads in North American history. So we'll play Name That Commercial before 11:30 this morning as well. Stay with us on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. We were just talking about our local elementary school system, and now we're going to put post-secondary in the spotlight on the show because scholarships are available to your favorite student to get to an Eastern Canadian university, St. Mary's to be exact, thanks to a local charity, KW Legacy, a new 3-year agreement between the St. Mary's University Huskies and KW Legacy will ensure those scholarships continue to flow. Here to talk more about it, Mike Denemy, who's a founding member of KW Legacy. Mike, always good to see you. Thanks very much for being here.
Thanks, Mike, for having us.
And Dan Seneker joins us as well. Dan is the Assistant Vice President Enrollment and a Registrar at St. Mary's University. Dan, great to see you as well. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having us.
So, Mike, maybe we could start with a little bit of background here on KW Legacy and why this all got started. I know the whole idea was to provide scholarships like this, but my goodness, over the years, over $1 million now, I believe, is where we're at. But can you take us through why KW Legacy was even formed?
Yeah, Mike, thanks again for having us on. It was formed more than 10 years ago. A group of friends just thought we wanted to do something good for the community, and we came up with a tagline, good friends, greater deeds. We started off with a way to actually raise money was actually for golfing, something that we all know to do. And it kind of speared into we're raising a bunch of money, how we give it back to the community, and that led to scholarships. Legacy has been around for 10 years. We have about 25 people on Legacy. No one's paid. This is strictly volunteer. As you mentioned, we raised over $1 million just on the call for scholarships. We also have a top home chef event. And one thing we're really proud of, Mike, is the amount of due to it being strictly volunteer, less than 4% of our expenses are paid. So 96% of the funds raised go directly to people who need it.
Dan, why the extension of this partnership with KW Legacy for St. Mary's University?
So we've been working with the Legacy Group now for the 10 years. In the last 2 years with St. Mary's, and we've always had great students come from the KW region that came to St. Mary's or previous institutions that I've been at. And there's a real need for students to have opportunities. And because we had such a great partnership in the previous 2 years with some amazing students, we said, you know what, we want to extend this. We want to make it bigger and let's go for 3 years and let's expand the number of scholarships so that we go from 1 a year to 2 a year. So now we have $48,000 times 2 for scholarships offered to students from the KW region going to any of the Waterloo Region schools.
Mike, how can students take advantage of these scholarship opportunities?
Yeah, we work very closely with the 21 high schools. So please contact your guidance counselor. We all know everyone's busy. Guidance counselors are busy. Like a main point of coming on the show today is to make parents and uncles and friends aware of this amazing scholarship that is out east. So definitely contact your guidance counselor. is the best way to find out more about this specific scholarship.
You said, Dan, a moment ago, $48,000 in scholarships now times 2. Why is it important for St. Mary's to be offering scholarships like this?
Sure. So we're a very diverse student body. So about 15% of our students come from outside of Nova Scotia, outside of province. And so we want to attract more students from Southern Ontario and specifically from the KW region. I'm from the KW region. I know what great students are there, and some great opportunities for students to go to institutions, post-secondary institutions in the Waterloo region. But it's great to expand and have different opportunities, see different parts of the country, bring back ideas. And so that's what we want to do with these scholarships, is provide, a student with a $48,000 opportunity to come out east, learn, grow, explore, and then decide what they want to do, whether that's go back to the Waterloo region and give back to the community there and set up their careers there, or, stay out east or wherever they may want to go. So just providing more opportunities for students.
You mentioned also, Dan, that you've been at other post-secondary institutions. Now you find yourself at St. Mary's in beautiful Nova Scotia. I will add that part in because it's such a beautiful part of our country. But how does St. Mary's make it a welcoming experience for somebody from, say, the region of Waterloo to start attending school there?
Right. Yeah. So, we are a very diverse campus. So we have 5,500 students coming from 112 different countries around the world, and every province and every territory. So it's a Halifax is a great welcoming community itself, very similar to KW. It's people coming from everywhere and very community focused, very community based. So the transition is not that great. The only difference is that we're on an ocean and you're on the Grand River.
I like that. You're on the ocean, we're on the Grand River. Mike, when you think back more than 10 years now, when this group of friends got together, decided good friends could do greater deeds, would you ever have imagined we'd be talking about more than $1.2 million being issued to more than 100 students here in the region?
We always had a vision, Mike, that we'd raise over $1 million and hand out 200. We weren't sure how long it would take, but it really just shows what this community is about, and especially like when you think of St. Mary's offering up these scholarships. A bit more about the actual scholarship, Mike. Like for legacy scholarships, we are looking for our next leaders. So there's a minimum grade to get this specific scholarship, but our scholarship process is really looking at leadership. We want to get behind those leaders that have currently done things for their community. Let's get behind them, reward them through supporting them through a financial means to help them with their education.
Can you share with us, Mike, what these scholarships mean to the recipients? Maybe a story from one of your past recipients.
Yeah, Dan actually has a good example, but we've had some dinners, Michael, with the scholarship winners, and the thing that really blew me away was how much of an impact it has on the parent. So going to this dinner where we had 10 scholarship winners, and the parents were talking about, like, you don't understand what this did for my kids' confidence. That their confidence is skyrocketing. Sure, the money means a lot, especially this one for St. Mary's being, $50,000, right? But it was the parents talking about the confidence now that the student has with winning the award, because this is a very difficult scholarship to win. We get a lot of applicants, and we are looking for leadership.
Dan, from your end, Mike says you see this on the recipient's end. What sorts of stories are you hearing from St. Mary's?
Yeah, so currently at St. Mary's we have 2 recipients, and Michaela, one of them, she said, this would not have been an opportunity had it not been for the scholarship. The experience wouldn't have been possible without the support of the scholarship and KW Legacy. And not only is the money can make it all happen, but it's the other things that come too. So the mentorship, the internship possibilities, making connections and networking, all the things that we know that are important in life as we progress with our careers and our personal lives and everything like that. And so now she has the opportunity to not only have her network and her support group in the KW region, but she also has one in Halifax as well that would not have existed had she not been a recipient of one of these scholarships and this opportunity.
So just to draw back the curtain a wee little bit here, the three of us go back many decades together to a high school in Kitchener that I think, I know to this day, had a tremendous impact on me. But Dan, here you are now, a registrar at a university, St. Mary's University in Nova Scotia, still connected to this community here where Mike and I are today in the region of Waterloo. What is it? What would you say about those connections that the relationships that you forged all those decades ago that remain with you today?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mike. Great observation. Like, I think that having been at St. Jerome's and attended St. Jerome's, that we had a community there that I don't know if it was replicated anywhere else. I don't know if you can say that a group of guys that went to high school 30 some odd years ago are still in contact, are still working together, are still drawn to the community. Even though I haven't lived in KW now for 25 years or so, I still have that connection, family, friends. And when I found out about KW Legacy, and I can't even remember how Mike and I connected with it, it was a no-brainer for me. It was just something that said, yes, this is an opportunity, even though I'm thousands of kilometers away, to be able to still support the community and still have that connection. And I think that speaks a lot to the high school and the experience that we had, but also to the community in general in KW and what it was all about.
Mike, what does that tell you about the group that initially formed KW Legacy?
Yeah, I'm just echoing Dan's comments. Like when we started out KW Legacy, we kind of just reached out to some local friends. Some were from the school you mentioned, and some were from other schools. But just getting people together with similar values. I just want to go do something good. A lot of people go and do great things by themselves, but actually coming together to do something amazing. You can definitely have a lot more fun. We do have fun on Legacy, but we also, of course, want to raise money for our charity.
Hey, this is it's a fantastic story, and I'm so glad we had the opportunity to share it on the show this morning. The continuation of this partnership, 3 years between St. Mary's University and KW Legacy, looking for the leaders of tomorrow and providing those scholarship opportunities. Real good to chat with you guys. Dan Seneker, Mike Denemy, thank you both very much for joining the show this morning, and thanks for what you're doing.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Dan Seneker is Vice President and Registrar at St. Mary's University, Assistant VP of Enrollment there, and Mike Denemy, a founding member of KW Legacy, joining us on the show this morning to talk about that extended partnership. Two local students, local here to the region of Waterloo, will each have a chance at a $48,000 scholarship to attend St. Mary's University in Nova Scotia. This is a renewed partnership agreement lasting another 3 years. Families, have your kids talk to their guidance counselors and find out about these scholarship opportunities, maybe spread those wings a little bit, expand those horizons through what is being offered by KW Legacy as they continue to look for the leaders of tomorrow. And because the guys made me think of it, as we were chatting about how long it's been since we've all been in high school, remember, for anybody of a similar vintage or who also perhaps went through those halls with us at St. Jerome's High School in Kitchener, the St. Jerome's St. Mary's 35th reunion is coming up on November the 15th. If you do a Google search, it's an Eventbrite, but if you just look up the St. Mary's St. Jerome's 35th reunion, Saturday, November the 15th is when it's going to be happening. Imagine it's been 35 years for some of us since we walked those halls and forged those relationships, some of which, as you can hear just this morning, are still bearing fruit by way of these scholarships. Okay, we're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, it's something that the Premier said that really stuck with me. that ad that so angered Donald Trump wasn't just protecting Ontario workers, although I get that's why the premier is looking at it that way. But he says it was the greatest ad in North America, in the history of North America. I thought, well, wait a minute, though. Was it? I mean, it was a speech from Ronald Reagan, for starters, but I came up with a few just off the top of my head that I thought might have been as impactful, if not more, than the anti-tariff ad. So we're going to play a little game. See if you can name that commercial as we continue on the Mike Farwell Show this morning. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Well, as you might expect, Ontario Premier Doug Ford under fire at Queen's Park yesterday for the anti-tariff ad that so angered U.S. President Donald Trump. Prime Minister Carney said, negotiations had been moving along, but then the ad came along and that just changed things dramatically. Under pressure from interim Liberal leader John Fraser, who might as well just become the Liberal leader. I mean, he's been the interim how many times now, and they get new leaders who can't win elections, and so Fraser just remains the interim Liberal leader. But following a question from John Fraser, this was Premier Ford's response yesterday at Queen's Park.
It was the most successful ad in the history of North America. Not just here, we had over 1 billion impressions, meaning 1 billion views, and it's still counting, from around the world. Every outlet, small, large, medium, in the U.S. was talking about the conversation about it's better to get rid of any of the tariffs that President Trump wants to attack our country, but the leader of the third party, minivan party, he has no solutions. He believes in raising taxes, making us less competitive. We believe in lowering taxes, creating an environment for companies to come here and thrive and prosper. But I'm never take a back seat to President Trump, never take a back seat to our opposition. We're going to continue working for the people.
And as you can hear, Premier Ford got cut off. He had run out of time, but it's not the leader of the opposition. It's the leader of the third party, the minivan party. Look, take the back and forth at Queen's Park for what it's worth. I wanted to just focus on this part of what Premier Ford said.
It was the most successful ad in the history of North America.
Okay, now, like North America, first of all, a pretty big continent. And I know that there have been many ads made over all of the years in the history of this continent, not the least of which are the annual Super Bowl ads. So the anti-tariff ad was the most successful in the history of North America. How well do you think you know your commercial advertising? Do you think you know it well enough to identify an ad just hearing a little bit of it? I'll play a little game with me. 519-570-2545. Star 570, 1-800-570-5715. Some advertisements that really stood out to me because I remember the products associated with them. And they weren't anti-tariff ads. For example, what was this an ad for?
It's a world of different places. It's a world of shining faces. A world where kids should have some fun. Moms understand. Wherever kids go, there's no chocolate mess, 'cause moms know. Melt in your mouth, not in your hand. All the world loves pure milk chocolate joy in a candy shell for everyone.
Wait, all the world loves what? I had to edit out the product name because I don't want you to know it without guessing it. 519-570-2545, star 570, 1-800-570-5715. All the world loves what? The milk chocolate melts in your mouth, not in your hands? You don't think that was a bigger commercial in the history of North America than the anti-tariff commercial? I'm sure you recognize this song, too.
I'd like to buy the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honey bees and snow white turtle doves. I'd like to teach the world to sing. Sing with me. Perfect harmony, perfect harmony.
real thing? You want to buy the world? You'd like to buy the world a what? Wasn't that a bigger ad in North America than the anti-tariff ad? The milk chocolate melts in your mouth, not in your hands. All the world loves M&Ms. I'd like to buy the world a Coke. It's the real thing. And then, of course, how could we forget this lady?
It's a very big fluffy bun.
Where's the beef? Where's the beef? Hey, where's the beef?
Tell me.
I don't think there's anybody back there.
There's nobody back there, Marg. Tell me where the beef is. Do you remember? Do you remember what fast food restaurant that was a commercial for? Bigger than the anti-tariff ad in North America. Just my humble opinion. This is the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Well, if you're going to celebrate an anniversary, celebrate it in style. Make the milestone event a memorable one, and that's what Royal City Science intends to do as it plans its anniversary celebrations. Our good friend from the Department of Physics at the University of Guelph, the great Orbax. I think he has to have something in front of his name. Orbax just doesn't cut it. He is the magnificent Orbax, and he joins us on the phone. Good morning, my friend.
How you doing this morning, Mike?
I'm doing really well. Thank you, sir. How are you?
I'm good.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Before we get into the event itself and the big names you have attracted to it, tell us a little more about Royal City Science. About to celebrate its 5th anniversary, but what is Royal City Science?
Sure. Well, Royal City Science is a charity that I co-founded in the Guelph region. So, I mean, we have far-reaching to wherever we can in terms of trying to do a little good with getting science communication and STEM out there. But it's a group made up of science enthusiasts and science educators whose primary end goal is to build a science center in the Guelph region. On our route to do that, we've been providing low-cost and free STEM programming to our communities for the last 5 years.
What is it that makes you so passionate about this, Orbax? Getting the word about STEM out there, making science accessible to people in the community. Why are you so passionate about that?
Well, Mike, we've talked about this many times in the past. And this is the thing, you know, I mean, it's one of these things that I don't know that you really need to have a cheerleader for the sciences or for STEM, but we seem to be living in a world where that's more and more so the case. To have people out there, at least have a place to go where people know that the people that they're talking to know what they're talking about, that they're experts, and that they've, in some cases, have spent their entire lives studying certain things, and that these are the people that we should trust and the people that we should talk to. And, science centers do just that, and science programming in the community does just that. It gives people a way to access a route towards these experts and people to talk to find these things out.
So to mark the 5th anniversary of Royal City Science in about a week and a half's time, on Monday, November the 10th, event.
It's coming up too soon.
It's way too soon. I know. I did a double take. I'm like, a couple to a few weeks away. No, it's like a week and a half, dude. Are you ready? Like, come on.
No. Yeah. We're getting there. I mean, as I'm sure you can understand, Halloween's a very important time in my year, and so that's been most of my lawn decorations has been taking up a long time. It's my other passion along with science communication. But yeah, no, on November 10th, Monday at the Guelph Music Center, to celebrate our 5th anniversary, we're bringing in two, I like to call them celebrities, a combination of, that's a clumsy portmanteau of science and celebrity.
I love it.
And we're bringing in two of the biggest hitters in Canada. So we're bringing in Nobel laureate in physics in 2018, Dr. Donna Strickland, and we're bringing in host of CBC's Quirks and Quarks, Bob McDonald.
Yeah, those are about as heavy of hitters as you can get in the celebrity world.
Yeah, and so it's an exciting thing because, I think in many ways this kind of epitomizes what we're trying to do. We're trying to make science communication accessible. So, how often are you going to get an opportunity to get two of these big hitters in a small venue in a cozy little town like Guelph to be able to speak to our population?
We love to remind folks that Nobel laureate in physics, Dr. Donna Strickland, is one of our own, so to speak, from the University of Waterloo. Everybody knows Quirks and Quarks and Bob McDonald's work. So on the November the 10th at the Guelph Youth Music Center, Orbex, will they be lecturing to us? What is Light and Sound, the event, all about?
Yeah, so the idea, we came up, we were trying to figure out a name for this event, and we decided to go with the idea of calling it Light and Sound. Dr. Strickland got her Nobel Prize. I mean, again, from Waterloo, grew up in Guelph, only the third woman in human history to actually get the Nobel Prize in physics, with her work in laser physics. So that's the light part of it. And Bob's been, a radio celebrity for decades now, and that's where the sound comes in. So we're combining the two, light and sound. And they're basically the event is going to have a little bit of a mixer. We're going to have a silent auction for some fun things. And then we're going to go into an evening of talks from the two of them. So we're going to have a guided talk with Dr. Strickland about her work and about this new group that she's been spearheading, which she co-founded the Trust and Research Undertaking and Science Technology Network. So she'll be speaking a bit about that, and Bob will give us a little talk linking into his latest book as well. And, of course, I'm going to be there potentially blowing things up or doing a few science demos.
I love it.
As we can with two of the biggest heavy hitters. I got to keep the safety in check. But, yes, I'll also be there doing some science demos for everybody.
We never know what the magnificent Orbex is going to be up to. Just by way of a bit of an aside, because you mentioned the goal here of Royal City Science is to get that science center built in the Guelph area to serve our part of southwestern Ontario. How goes that effort? I mean, I remember checking in on it maybe a year or so ago, and maybe the land is available. Like, how is that effort going?
It's going well. So, I mean, we keep getting support from all levels of government and all groups in our community. Everybody seems to think it's a good idea, which, of course, it is. You go to other countries, especially in Europe, and every city has got a science center. Every city has an art gallery. Every city has a natural history museum. It's kind of a strange thing that here in North America, especially in Canada, that we feel just one or two science centers, one or two museums can service the entire province. So we're moving towards it. We've gone through some architectural surveys. We've done a feasibility study, and all things are pointing positively towards it. But there's still a lot of work yet to do, a lot of money to be raised and a lot of legwork to put in to communicate with these different levels of all the hitters involved. But it's looking good. It's a process, is what I'm learning as over the course of this whole thing.
So obviously, one of the ways you can raise a little bit of that money is through the 5th anniversary event on Monday, November the 10th. Light and Sound.
What a seamless callback to the original intent of this interview. That's fantastic. A professional journalist at the peak of his game. Look at this.
You're a very kind man. You're very kind. But I want to make sure folks know how they can be a part of this event on Monday, November the 10th. Yeah, Donna Strickland and Bob McDonald there. And Orbex.
And I had mentioned, of course, that there's some, we'll be doing some silent auctions and stuff. We've also had some wonderful sponsors who have come forward. And some of the sponsors are actually subsidizing tickets to allow some of our members of our community who wouldn't necessarily have access to the event to be able to come to the event. So we're really seeing the community come together. It's quite exciting for me. And, I mean, it's a great opportunity to see this, but also for us, it's a way for us to raise some money and to continue marching along and pushing forward to try to get science to be more accessible for people in any region.
I love it. It's such a worthwhile endeavor. How can we get our hands on tickets, Orbex?
Good question. Okay. So if you look up Light and Sound on Eventbrite, you can find it there, or presumably there's a link on our website. And as an incredibly prepared communicator, I, of course, already know what the website address is. And I'm not just trying to pull it up on my computer right now to make sure that I'm confirming it. It is royalcityscience.ca. So if you head over to there, there's a link. Very first thing on the front page is a link to our event on November 10th at 7 p.m. at the Guelph Youth Music Center, where you get an opportunity to see a Nobel laureate as well as one of our greatest science communicators that our country's had to offer.
You know, if you hadn't told us you were looking it up as you were speaking, nobody would have known. That's what makes you the magnificent Orbax.
Transparency. It's all about transparency. I like to put it all out there.
I love it. RoyalCityScience.ca. You'll find the information and your chance to get tickets to Light and Sound right there. Orbax, love what you're doing. Keep it up, and I look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Anytime.
Have a fantastic day.
You as well, sir. Bye-bye. That is the great, the magnificent Orbax. He is a science communicator in the Department of Physics at the University of Guelph. Have a science-tastic day, bringing in the celebrities, right? The science celebrities. Donna Strickland, UW's own Nobel Prize winner. Bob McDonald, the host of Quirks and Quarks on CBC, and who also just happens to be an officer of the Order of Canada. The event's coming up on Monday, November the 10th at 7 o'clock at the Guelph Youth Music Centre. RoyalCityScience.ca is the website. You could do a whole lot worse with your time than taking in an event like this and helping Royal City Science in its quest to get a science centre built in the Guelph-Wellington area that would certainly serve this part of southwestern Ontario. So check out RoyalCityScience.ca. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I was having some fun before with commercials from a bygone era because Ontario Premier Doug Ford had said that the anti-tariff ad that he created that made Donald Trump so angry was, well, let me tell you what Doug Ford said about his own commercial.
It was the most successful ad in the history of North America.
I mean, does that mean we're still going to be talking about it decades from now, like we still talk about this particular ad?
It's a very big, fluffy bun.
Where's the beef? Where's the beef? Hey, where's the beef? I don't think there's anybody back there.
I don't think there's anybody back there. Where's the beef was the first commercial that came to my mind. And I must confess, when I put that together this morning, I had thought that was a Burger King commercial. But in fact, it turned out to be a Wendy's commercial from back in the 1980s. We also played the I'd Like to Buy the World a Coke jingle and the M&Ms. All the world loves M&Ms because the milk chocolate melts in your mouth, not in your hands. We remember those jingles from decades ago. I'm not sure we're going to remember forever the anti-tariff ad, but maybe some of you have sent in your suggestions as to the commercial that really stands out that you remember all of these years later. If you've got one you'd like to add to the mix, feel free to give me a call right now. I'll share some that have already come in via email. And a big milestone for a member of one of our elected councils in this region. We'll get to that as we continue the Mike Farwell Show this morning, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
It's a very big, fluffy bun.
Where's the beef? Where's the beef? Hey, where's the beef? I don't think there's anybody back there.
A classic fast food restaurant commercial. Where's the beef? A Wendy's commercial from back in 1984. And then there was this classic for a candy that I hope many of you get on Friday for Halloween.
It's a world of different places. It's a world of shining faces. A world where kids should have some fun. Moms understand. Wherever kids go, there's no chocolate mess. 'Cause moms know. Melt in your mouth, not in your hand. All the world loves pure milk chocolate. Joy in a candy shell for everyone.
You have to forgive the crude edits. I didn't want the product name to come out in the song as you remembered the jingle for M&M's, which takes us back to 1982 and going back even further, a commercial that has stood the test of time.
I'd like to buy the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honey bees and snow white turtle doves. I'd like to teach the world to sing. Sing with me. Perfect harmony. Perfect harmony. I'd like to buy the world and keep it company. That's the real thing. I'd like to teach the world to sing. In perfect harmony. Perfectly. And I'd like to buy the world and keep it company.
It's the real thing. That one goes back to 1971 for Coca-Cola. Of course, I'd like to buy the world a Coke. I know all of the years because Sean's email to Mike at 570news.com says, I'm afraid only us old guys will remember those commercials you mentioned. Dennis also knew that it was M&M's and Coca-Cola, and then added one that he used to like, the old Pizza Hut commercial. $5, $5. Remember that? It's every other pizza was $5, $5, $5, $5. And then the people at the table, I'm just going off the top of my head, but it goes to show how long-standing these commercials are, ingrained in our memories. This is the server. She's at the table. They're making an order. So if I order this pizza and then this pizza, and this pizza, how much does it cost? $12.99 and then $5, $5. And they threw a Ferrari in there. And she says, $5, $289,580, $5 or something like that. And there you go. And Jeanette's email to Mike at 570news.com. When you eat your Smarties, do you eat the red ones last? Do you suck them very slowly or crunch them very fast? It's the candy-coated chocolate. But tell me when I ask, when you eat your Smarties, do you eat the red ones last? How could we forget, Jeanette? So all I'm saying, Premier Ford, is decades from now, maybe 5 decades from now, are people really still going to be talking about the anti-tariff commercial? Is it really?
It was the most successful ad in the history of North America.
I'm not certain of that. Hey, came across this yesterday, which curiously is almost exactly a year to the day until our next municipal election. I believe it's October the 26th. 2026 we go. Maybe it's October 27th. Maybe that's why this came out yesterday. Either way, October of next year, we will be headed to the polls for a municipal election. And according to Liaison Strategies, 70% of voters in Kitchener approve of Mayor Barry Verbanovic. If an election were to be held today, Kitchener Mayor Barry Verbanovic would win re-election in a landslide, 70% support. The number one issue, by the way, in the city of Kitchener right now happens to be housing, according to Liaison Strategies. I couldn't resist it when I came across that. I mean, listen, we need to pay more attention to municipal politics, municipal issues. And if we can get people engaged a year ahead of the next municipal election, by gosh, we should do that. I don't know that anybody's laying odds yet. We don't even know who Mayor Verbanovic's competitors would be. But according to Liaison Strategies, if an election were to be held today, it's a landslide for Mayor Barry in Kitchener, who, by the way, got a little surprise at the meeting of Kitchener Council last week. The city of Kitchener's CAO, the Chief Administrative Officer, Dan Chapman, got on the microphone for this little surprise for Mayor Verbanovic.
You mentioned a 30-year milestone for the Toronto Blue Jays. We are celebrating another happy 30-year milestone this evening, and Mayor, that is your 30 years of dedicated public service as an elected official here in the city of Kitchener. Mayor, we want to honor tonight your legacy of civic leadership and also acknowledge the character and integrity with which you continue to lead. Mayor Verbanovic's career has been defined by a deep and enduring commitment to the people of Kitchener. His journey began right here at the city of Kitchener, including time as a young man at the library, at the pool, in the fire department, in the city clerk's department, and later in computer systems. But in 1994, he was elected as a Ward 2 councillor, a role which he held for 6 consecutive terms. And during that time, he championed important topics like youth mentorship, community infrastructure, and environmental stewardship, among other priorities. In 2014, Barry was elected Mayor of Kitchener and has since been re-elected in 2018 and 2022. His leadership has been defined by vision and a deep commitment to building a better city for everyone.
How do you like that? Dan Chapman, Chief Administrative Officer in the city of Kitchener, recognizing at last week's council meeting Mayor Barry Verbanovic for 30 years of service as an elected official, 6 terms as a councillor, and he's finishing up his 3rd term as mayor. Do you think he goes for 6 as mayor? According to Liaison Strategies, Mayor Barry would win in a landslide. He's got a 70% approval rating today, if an election were to be held today. That election won't be held for a year's time, but 30 years is a significant length of time to be in service to one's community. Say what you will about those who are in service to our community, their intentions, their success rate, whether or not you agree with all of the decisions or not. That's an awfully long time to be devoted to one's city. 6 terms as a councillor and now into a 3rd term coming up on the end of it as mayor. Does he go for a 4th? I guess that intrigue will play out in the next 12 months or so before that municipal election. But hey, a hearty congratulations to Kitchener Mayor Barry Verbanovic for that length of service to the community. I'm going to get you an update from the 570 News Center, and then it is Talkback time. The next hour is open lines so we can hear from you. I'd still like to hear from the person that was still up at 10 to 3 this morning when that game ended. We can talk some Blue Jays and other issues, of course, as we get into Talkback next on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Take out the papers and the trash, or you don't get no spending cash. If you don't scrub that kitchen floor, you ain't gonna rock and roll no more. Yakety yak.
Don't talk back.
Just finish cleaning up your room. Let's see that dust fly with that broom. Get all that garbage out of sight, or you don't go out Friday night. Yakety yak.
Don't talk back.
It is your daily Talkback opportunity here on the show where we open the phone lines and allow you to have your say on the issues of the day. I mean, the number one story still afternoon because, the game ended 9 hours and 15 minutes ago, give or take. What a ball game last night. 18 innings and some way, somehow, the Los Angeles Dodgers on a home run from the Canadian turncoat Freddie Freeman beat the Toronto Blue Jays 6-5 in Game 3 of the World Series. But we're going to get right back on the field tonight. Both teams had to play 18 innings. I still feel great about this Blue Jays team, but oh my gosh, it just crushed your soul last night, didn't it? And I asked just before that news update with Matt, I want to find the person that stayed up for the whole game. Apparently 2 of my coworkers did. One who says he's running on about 3 hours sleep. The other went down to Toronto. He was at the watch party at Rogers Centre and was doing the morning show on our country station. And he just basically drove from Toronto right back here to work and started his show, the Robin and PJ show on Country 106.7. Incredible. I lasted until about 12:30. And when I say lasted until 12:30, I mean I started nodding off on the couch and I would wake up from time to time. Couple of nod offs, and then at 12:30, I'm like, I'm out. I'm going to bed. And I came back to work at the usual time this morning. My alarm went at 5. So if you'll forgive some of those gaps in my conversation as my brain tries to find the words that I'm looking for. I had one of those little brain farts just before the news, and they embarrassed me, and I'm sorry for that. Yuta sent me an email to Mike at 570news.com. This is related to the game because earlier today, I put somebody in Jackwagon jail. We haven't put anybody in Jackwagon jail for a while. It's the place we put the Jackwagons, you see. And there was a 21-year-old man arrested in Guelph, charged with impaired driving after police stopped his vehicle just after midnight on Saturday morning, essentially, so Friday night, doing 161 in a 40 zone. Let's just start there. 4 times the legal speed limit. And then blew over because officers, when they pulled the vehicle over, detected the odor of alcohol. 30 beer cans and a cannabis pipe were found inside the vehicle. So I sentenced that man to Jackwagon jail, the jail we put the Jackwagons in. They do not get to pass go. They do not collect $200. And then we throw away the key. We lock them in Jackwagon jail and we throw away the key. And Yuta's email to Mike at 570news.com says, how about JP Sachs? Can you put him in Jackwagon jail? I didn't know who JP Sachs was, and I'm kind of glad I missed the beginning of the baseball game last night because he's from Toronto and he sang our national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home, our native land, true patriot love, in all of us command.
I mean, it's one way to do the anthem, I suppose. Yuta says J.P. Sachs belongs in jackwagon jail for that rendition of Oh Canada. Let's get to the phones. Hear what's on your mind this afternoon, beginning Talkback with Jersey Bill. Good afternoon, Billy.
Yes, I stayed up all night watching the game.
Oh, you are something.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm a retired guy. I don't go anywhere in the morning except to take somebody to school, but I didn't. The wife did that, so I was still sleeping. But, it reminds me of it was a good time to remind myself of Uncle Ludwig Retberg's old motto: cannot get emotionally involved in the game. Always root for the one that is winning. And of course, most of the game you could root for both because the game was tied. But there was some kind of interesting thing that occurs when the home run is hit by the only person, I think, on the Canadian team who claims Canadian citizenship. So the Canadian beat the Canadian team. So that was interesting.
Oh, Billy, I appreciate the perspective. And I like that idea about not getting emotionally invested. I have to be honest. I am, in case you haven't noticed from listening to me, and I know this kind of goes against form for me, right? I'm the cranky guy. I admit I'm the cranky guy. Quite frankly, I like being the cranky guy because I tell you what's wrong, you see, and then you go and fix it, or I encourage you to fix it. Like the goofy leaf collection we do, curbside leaf collection. Stop it already. And the speed cameras, get rid of them already. I'm the cranky guy. But I have been so inspired, I really have, by watching this Blue Jays team towards the end of the season, through the playoffs so far, beating the Yankees, the Game 7 Springer Dinger in the American League Championship Series. Regardless of outcome in this World Series, I am just over the moon at the memories that this team has given me, at the excitement that they've provided, the distraction from the things I'm usually cranky about. I've really enjoying it. And yeah, I don't like it when they lose. That does suck because I am emotionally invested, but I wouldn't trade the enjoyment that I've had over these last many weeks for anything. It's just been so much fun, at least for me. I'm even having enough fun to feel a little bit bad about Brendan Little last night. And you can ask anybody close to me, he infuriates me as a Blue Jays pitcher. I have been very upset by him going back to the regular season. So, of course, it was Brendan Little, the last guy they called on that still could pitch for the Blue Jays last night, that gave up the home run. But how can I be upset with him? Somebody was going to give up the game-winning hit. It just so happened to be him. I'm not even that angry about it, to be honest with you. Kyle, you're on Talkback.
I'm a little tired this morning, too, because I was up till 2:30 last night watching the game. You know, you wait 32 years for this, and you can't even go to bed thinking another 1 or 2 hours of sleep will make a difference in your life.
Exactly. You waited 32 years for this.
But no, you know what? Is it bad for me to say when I get home today at like 5 o'clock, I want to go for like an hour nap just in case the team does it all over again?
No, do it. Rest up for the game tonight. Absolutely. Anything you need to do to be ready to cheer tonight, you do it.
All right, I got one more question before I let you go.
Yes.
If, let's say that happened at the Rogers Stadium, how do you get home after that? Like, if you live in Kitchener, there's no train system or anything like that. Do you get a hotel, like, at 4 o'clock in the morning? Or do you, how do you get home after waiting that long for a game to end?
Well, if you worked at 9 o'clock in the morning, you would have got home just in time.
I guess that's true. But,
yeah.
I mean, if I
fight
don't
the
know.
traffic and
stuck,
yeah.
Right?
Sure.
All right. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it.
All right, Kyle. Appreciate the call. Anybody that knows Kyle and his voice, even a little bit, because he's a regular on this show, he's not kidding. That was tired Kyle. Kyle is usually whooping it up, and his voice is usually at least 2, if not 3 or 4 octaves higher. But that is a sleepy voice, Kyle, here today. He did stay up for the whole thing. But that's the thing. Right? You wait 32 years for this. Of course you're going to stay up. I guess that's why maybe it's showing my age. I might not be around 32. I'm not going to be around 32 years from now if it takes that long to get back. So maybe that's why I'm savoring this so much. Dave, Farwell's Force member number 47. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mike. I'd like to change the subject slightly.
Of course.
Of importance. And I know it's not Monday, but I'd like to give a rant and a rave on the same subject, which happened last night.
Okay.
Are you aware that there was a musical icon tribute at the Grand Ole Opry?
Oh, for Anne Murray.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
And it was such an honor. And I'll tell you something. There was no Canadian way to view it. And to my knowledge, as of today, there is no plans to air that show. With all the top people, musical people giving a tribute to our icon, and no Canadian television network or whatever has any intention of airing it. And to me, that's my rave and my rant, or my rant and rave, whatever. I'm really, really disappointed. And thank you, Anne Murray, and God bless you. Have a great day.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. Give the CBC some time and some more of our money. They'll find a way. I'm sure it'll exist online somewhere, but I get it. I mean, if you think about the number of concerts and or live events that happen at a venue that we never lay eyes and or ears on, I guess this might be one of them. But in this particular case, I'm sure at some point, Dave, just hang in there with us. Be patient. Somebody will find a way to bring that to a television near you. Or, again, check it out on the old computer thing. Apparently this internet, it's going to stick around. It's going to be around for a long time. You can find anything on there, I'm told. This is Talkback on the Mike Farwell Show, and we continue on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Each and every day, we open our phone lines between noon and 1 so that you can talk back at us, tell us what's on your mind, reflect on the news of the day, or bring something entirely new to the table so we can learn more. If it's important to you, it's important to us. Just pick up the phone, give us a call. Let's have a conversation and help me through the final 40 minutes of the show, because I'll tell you where I'm going as soon as I'm done here today. That's back to bed. I know I'm not the only one fighting the fog from last night's big game. Mark, good afternoon. You're on Talkback.
Good afternoon, Mike. I'm going to go back to the Blue Jay game, if that's okay.
It certainly is.
Okay. I fell asleep last night, Mike, at 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock?
Yep. Listen, Mike. I had a long day. And the score was 5-5, okay? So I woke up again at 1:30 in the morning, and I thought, I'm going to watch the Blue Jays in 30 minutes to see who won the game. And it was the Raptors in 30 minutes. I said, what the heck is this? So then I stayed up till 2, and I said, I'm just going to put on Sportsnet and see who won the game. Put on Sportsnet, and the game's still going on, Mike. So I stayed up from 2 till 3, and I watched the final 4 innings.
There you go.
So, yeah, that's what I did, Mike.
And how did you feel when that home run ball went over the fence?
Oh, boy. Well, it was a tough one. It was a heartbreaker for the Jays. But, I mean, you know what? They're going to win tonight, Mike. I really feel that way. And I hope, what's his name, Otama or?
Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah. I'm going to put banana peels all over the place.
Attaboy, Mark. That's the spirit.
Okay, Mike.
Thanks, Mark. Have a great day. Good to hear from you. I said this at the beginning of the show today, and I don't feel good about it because I want to pour my coffee every morning with a reminder to not be a jackwagon, but I don't like Shohei Ohtani. I have decided through these 3 games of the World Series that I do not like him. That's the strongest language I will use, I've used stronger in the living room at home, but for this conversation, I will simply say, I don't like you, Shohei Ohtani, and I hope you slip on a banana peel today and hurt yourself and that you can't pitch tonight and you can't play in the series anymore because I don't like you. You and all your talent, hitting the ball and throwing the ball and catching the ball and pitching the ball and hitting home runs, and I don't like you. It's like one player against our entire team. That's how ridiculously talented this guy is, and I don't like him for it. So I said earlier that I hope he slips on a banana peel and gets hurt, and I stand by that claim. So if Mark or anybody else wants to go spread banana peels all around the Los Angeles Dodgers Stadium, Chavez Ravine, go ahead and do it. Because I hope Ohtani hurts himself today. Slip in the shower for all I care. Phil, good afternoon. You're on Talkback.
Good afternoon, sport. I think I'm otherwise known as, in your list of jurors, number 81.
Farwell's Force member number 81. List of jurors. Eh? Am I being tried right now by the jury of my peers, Philip?
No.
Okay, there you are, number 81, right there on my list. I love it.
Now listen how I'm going to tie in this your last segment on commercials.
Okay.
So I'm not going to miss it, baseball, because I can't tolerate anymore that nauseating WestJet commercial where the girls got the face paint in the house.
Hey, listen.
You can't get it out. Shizer House.
Phil, my goodness. This whole show the last 48 hours has gone into the Shizer House. My word. Yes, it says here you can try mayonnaise, Phil.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to even eat mayonnaise because I'm sick of that commercial
all right.
all season and World Series.
Fair enough. Thank you for the call. I'm going to just blame it today. I don't know what to blame it on yesterday, but today I'm going to blame it on us just being a little bit tired. And so we're looser with our lips than we ought to be. Oh, Philip, you're such a Phil. Mary, good afternoon. You're on Talkback.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mike with a mic.
I am Mike with a mic. Mary on the bike. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I'm really a nice person, but I'm kind of with you on the banana peel.
I love it, Mary. See, I'm kind of I'm not a nice person at all. You're a nice person. I'm not.
No, you can be nice and you can hope for that. But yeah, don't you know? Come on, with your coming on. Let's have a banana peel.
Let's all have banana peels today, Mary. Thank you for the call and the laugh. I said yesterday I would pay to hear that laugh every day. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I'm wishing. Look, I don't want it to be a permanent injury. I don't want him to be disfigured. I don't want him to never play baseball again. I just don't want him to play any more baseball this season. That's all I'm asking for. Afif, good afternoon. You're on Talkback.
Hey, good afternoon, Mike. Last night was horse crap. Well, yeah.
Well, thank you for at least being a little bit less vulgar with your language today.
Oh, man, I watched that game, and I basically died after he hit it.
You stayed up for the whole thing?
Oh, yeah.
How do you people function the next day?
I'm right now doing my orders, and oh my God, I'm trying, but it's hard. It gets hard. You feel sleepy so much all the way, like, oh God, what are you gonna do? But the other thing is, you know how he said how he's like, oh, how do you get to work at that like the next day? The New Year's Day, I went for fireworks in Trew.
Yes.
I got stuck there. I finished at like 12:30. I get back home at like 8 in the morning.
What? It took you 7.5 hours to get home from Toronto?
It took me 5 hours just to get out of the parking lot.
What?
Yeah, it was that jam-packed. I was getting angry so hard.
Oh, my gosh. Afif, listen, do me a favor. Don't ever go to Toronto again. And if you do, get a hotel room for crying out loud.
Oh, I'm not going for the fireworks ever again there. If I do, I'm parking somewhere really far away and walking.
There you go. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. No, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I told you, just a little bit of the fog over the cranium today after staying up far past my bedtime for a school night. I'm still with you, Blue Jays. Remember this, Jays fans, as disheartening as it is, the Dodgers had to play 18 innings last night too. And this Shohei Ohtani guy, he's got to be tired today. He was running around the bases. He was hitting home runs. Now he thinks he's going to pitch. I'll tell you who's going to pitch. The Biebs is going to pitch. No, not that Biebs from Stratford. Our Biebs that when we traded for from Cleveland at the trade deadline. Shane Bieber. He owes us one. He wasn't so great the last time out. This time, Shane Bieber is going to be on fire, and the Blue Jays are going to tie this series. Let's go, you Blue Jays, as we continue Talkback today on the Mike Farwell Show. News of the day, reflect on it. You want to talk some Blue Jays baseball and celebrate the team's World Series success so far? We can do that too. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Every day at noon, we open the phone lines and give you the chance to share your thoughts on the news of the day. What story is resonating most with you, and what's your opinion on it? We'll get right back to the phones as we continue Talkback. Joe, good afternoon.
Well, I wish it was a good afternoon after that crap show last night.
Settle down.
But can we just agree on one thing?
No, I'm not going to promise you that we're going to agree on anything.
You're going to agree with me on this.
Let's hear it.
We need to get rid of umpires.
No. Stop it.
Come on.
No.
Green light, red light. It's real simple. Real simple, Farwell.
No, I don't.
Green light, red light. Green light is a strike. Red light is a ball.
That's fine. You can have a robot.
The human and the 6 to 1 and half dozen to the other.
You can have a robot world if you want. I want to live in a world with people. Thank you. No.
That cost us a friggin'
No,
World
it did.
Series
See, this
game.
is the thing. It did not. And because I watched that game till the 11th inning. Do you know how many high strikes got called for us, too? It went both ways. Stop it.
Yeah, right. 6 to 1, half dozen the other until it cost you a World Series.
When did it cost you a World Series?
Have enough of this.
Stop it. You're ridiculous. You're ridiculous. Even
I agree to disagree.
Fine, but I'll tell you what, Joe. Even if the ump got that call wrong, Bo Bichette was out in outer space, just standing there and not moving when he got caught, thinking it was a walk. So I hang that as much on Bo.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
Okay, what else?
On this one, it works in tennis, okay? You cannot argue with that. It works in tennis. It's going to work in baseball.
No, stop. That's not even a relevant comparison.
Oh, my God.
How many times, Joe, when a player challenges the call in tennis is the umpire wrong?
It doesn't really matter.
It sure does.
The computer picks it out for you.
Okay.
It's a no-brainer.
Okay.
I'm happy to agree to disagree.
I'm not, but okay.
We'll leave it at that.
Yes, I'm just cranky today. Okay. What else?
I'm not happy.
I know you're not. When are you happy, Joe?
I'm happy when the Jays win the World Series and the ALCS and all those other wonderful things that are coming our way. That's when I'm happy.
Okay. Well, you're going to be
the Leafs.
You're going to be happy then tomorrow. I can't wait for you to call back Happy Joe tomorrow, okay?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Goodbye, Farwell.
Goodbye, Joseph. I really appreciate the call. Joe is my buddy who's been ragging all over Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Oh, this, oh, that. Vladdy has been fantastic in these playoffs. And I am not the guy that's going to support robots taking over umpires. I don't care. I know there were bad calls. It happens. They're human beings. Stop it. I don't want robots running my games. Paul, good afternoon. You're on Talkback.
Fardy, what's going on?
Hey, Paul. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good.
Hey, let's just back up for a second here. Shohei Ohtani, fantastic ball player. Let's appreciate his skills. Don't get me wrong. I wish he played for another team. But you take someone like Barger, that throw he made out of right field.
Oh, such a good throw.
Fantastic play. Like,
Yeah.
I play a lot of softball. My boy does. My daughters do. It's just fantastic. You can't teach that stuff. He was 2 feet in front of the plate. Right, perfect throw. Like, appreciate that kind of stuff. This is the World Series, guys. It's stinking awesome.
No, and I have to admit, you're absolutely right about Ohtani. I mean, it's a ridiculous talent, like utterly ridiculous. But
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's an understatement. Like, the guy's fantastic. I almost think he's a robot, but it's fun, man. Like, appreciate the game. Appreciate the fact that we're here. We're in the stinking World Series, guys. Talk to me in June and see if we're going to think we're here again.
Can I just be honest and say I'd appreciate it more if we were winning instead of the Dodgers?
Yeah, okay. Well, give us a little time.
All right.
I agree.
All
I
right.
agree. We can't do, well, I mean, like Friday night was spectacular, but it can't happen all the time.
That's a really good point.
Have a great day, Farzy. I don't mind the show. Keep it real.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. I don't mind the show. That might be the highest compliment I've ever received. You know, Farwell, I don't mind the show. Appreciate that, Paul. And you know what? I am with you. Like I do love, and I've said this before, as you know, I have the tremendous fortune as part of my role here with the radio station to be the broadcaster for Kitchener Rangers games. Josh Piercy and I go wherever the Rangers go. We don't go to the most glamorous places. Sudbury, Windsor, Sarnia, but hey, Erie, PA, you're at a hockey game. Absolutely love it. And you appreciate the opportunity just to be around the game and watch the talent that's on display. And as much as I love hockey and I'm a good Canadian kid who grew up with hockey, tell you what, you ask me in mid-July, sitting there at the Rogers Center with a cold beer in one hand and a hot dog in the other. Hey, Farzy, what's your favorite sport? Oh, I might hesitate just half a second before I said hockey because I love me some baseball. And Paul is right. We have been treated, certainly in the last 2 games. The Blue Jays put on an offensive display in Game 1. Wasn't even close, which is fine because it was our Blue Jays winning, right? Game 2, great pitchers battle. Gosman going toe-to-toe with Yashimoto. And then you gotta tip your cap to Yashimoto, right? Back-to-back complete games in the World Series or in the Major League Baseball playoffs. Come on. Impressive. And yes, as much as I want Shohei Ohtani to slip on a banana peel today and injure himself so that he can't play tonight, of course I admire the talent. And there was so much in that game. The Barger play is a great example. How about Vladdy going first to home on, it was Bichette's hit, right? Bichette's long single because Bo can't run for beans right now. But Vladdy, tremendous base running, sliding into home safely. I mean, it's just, how about Vladdy's play from first to third, catching the guy trying to sneak an extra base? I mean, there were lots of great plays last night by both teams. You got to admire it. I just wish our Blue Jays had come out on the right side of it. Andre, you are on Talkback. Good afternoon.
You talk too much.
I do talk too much, don't I? Sorry. Okay, I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to let you talk now.
No, I forgot you're also a commentator for the Kitchener Rangers. So yeah.
You forgot that?
It makes sense, right? But I got 2 things, Mike. First thing is that's why I said you talk too much, because that's what I want. One of my subject was to Joe. I mean, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is no joke. I mean, he's no joke. He listening to the game yesterday, the guy not only can hit, but he's also, as a player, like you just described, he stole the base, and he's an excellent first baser. So he's a official, I think, an excellent player. Unfortunately, he earned a lot of money for it. That's their choice. What's the other guy who got injured for us? I got a brain fart like you, Mike.
See, now, Andre, this is where I run into some trouble, because you tell me that I talk too much, but then when you talk, you need my help. George Springer got hurt last night.
I need your help because of the game.
George Springer. That's the player you're looking for, George Springer.
He you do follow your show. George Springer, I hope he's okay. I hope he's going to come back. I don't think so. I think it's pretty serious. I feel really bad because he is my favorite player there. The Jays are doing excellent. No matter, like you said yesterday, win or lose, it's amazing to watch our Canadian there. My last point, Mike, is I went for the first time to the Crazy Canuck, that is you, but my wife was describing me all these albums. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, there's so many Rush albums. What's up with that, Mike?
Are you kidding me? Because the Crazy Canuck's awesome. And yes, they have album art hung on the walls. And by the way, try the Halifax Donair pizza. Hello when you go to the Crazy Canuck. My goodness gracious. Chris, you're on Talkback. Good afternoon.
Oh, Mike, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Very good. Yeah, I haven't called in for a while. I listen to you every day.
Well, thank you very much for that. Appreciate it.
But, yeah, great show. Always enjoy it. It's my entertainment. The one thing I do want to say about who doesn't want a championship in anything that goes the way it's been back and forth? That's why we watch it, isn't it?
You're absolutely right. As long as it keeps going back and forth. Like, we need to get one here in LA so we can come back to Toronto, right?
Absolutely.
For sure.
I much would prefer a series like this, a championship series go like this, instead of the Dodgers sweeping like they did the last guy.
That's a very good point. Yep.
And it's, I think, go Jays, go.
Oh, I think we just lost Chris's phone. Oh, are you back? There you go.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, go Jays, go.
All right, Chris, thanks for that. Good point to end on. Go Jays, go, with the phone breaking up a little bit there. And it's another good point. I mean, look, as much as we would love for the Blue Jays to win 11-4 every night, that was fun. And I guess if we won 4 straight, sure. But I look at these Dodgers as almost inhuman, right? They swept their last series. Like Chris points out, they're this super team. They had only lost one other game in the playoffs before we beat them in Game 1 of the World Series. And as far as I'm concerned, we gave them a black eye last night. We may not have won the fight, but boy, oh boy, we marked them up. So let's go. Let's go get ourselves another one tonight. Let's keep this a series. Let's tie it 2-2 and then see what we get tomorrow night, because we have to play 3 in a row in LA, don't you know? This is your Talkback Hour on the Mike Farwell Show. And we continue on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. You know, I thought I was becoming a bit of a Blue Jays super fan, because really they can almost do no wrong in my eyes right now. I've just been so excited by it, but I had to give up last night / this morning. I had to get to bed so I could get some sleep and get up and come to work and be ready for 9 o'clock this morning to have some conversations with you. I didn't stay up for the whole game. And my good friends and Farwell's Force members, number 145 and 146, Tracy and Bill, stayed up for the entire game, and then the alarm went off at 6 this morning. Why? Because they're members of our farming community, and that's how they roll. Good on yous, numbers 145 and 146. Very impressive. Missy also sends an email to Mike at 570news.com. Had a coffee about 3 p.m. yesterday. That did the trick. Quick nap after the game before my day started again. Can't wait for tonight. Way to go, Missy. That is incredible. And Pat's email, yes, I did stay up. Our family has a family thing on WhatsApp. My son in the UK hung on until the end, as did my other son in Galt and another in Simcoe. We have got this. Pat, I'm with you. We're going to make this work, right? We just need to get a win tonight. And or Shohei Ohtani, the pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers, also the home run hitter for the Los Angeles Dodgers and everything else for the Los Angeles Dodgers. We just need him to get hurt. We need him to slip on a banana peel or something like that. Larry is remembering some iconic TV commercials. I got into this because Ontario Premier Doug Ford described his anti-tariff ad as the most successful ad ever in North America. So I recalled the I'd like to buy the world a Coke commercial, or M&M's, the milk chocolate melts in your mouth, not in your hands, or the where's the beef Wendy's commercial. Larry says, how about the Budweiser commercial? What's up? What's up? You remember that? I shouldn't even do that because it got a little bit tired. But for the first few times, it was pretty good. And also, you put your chocolate in my peanut butter. Do you remember that commercial for Reese's back in the day? Good memories, Larry. Well done by you. I hope you get some Reese's peanut butter cups in your Halloween treat bag on Friday night. It's going to be smaller. You've heard this, right? The ding-dang chocolate makers. Cocoa's so expensive, so even the mini chocolate, they're like mini chocolates now. They're like Farwell-sized chocolates now. It's not fair. What have we got left in this world if we can't get a good piece of free candy on Halloween? We'll go back to the phones here on Talkback. Mary, good afternoon.
Hey, I called back.
You did call back. What are you calling me back for?
Well, because I've been thinking.
Because
of
the wonderful things he does. Do you want to sing with me, Mary?
Yeah.
You play the part of Dorothy, and I'll play the part of the Cowardly Lion.
Well, I sing a different song.
Okay.
So anyway, I've been thinking and I'm thinking, you and I are not mean people.
Speak for yourself. I'm nasty. I'm so mean.
No.
Yep.
You're
No,
not.
I am, Mary. I am the meanest person I've ever met.
Oh God.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know what? Otani is kind of handsome.
Is he? I didn't. No, Freddie Freeman's not a bad looking guy.
And for Japanese, he's tall.
He is very tall. I noticed that. Yes.
I'm going a bit crazy, aren't I?
I think you are. I think you stayed up too late, or you've been on that bike too long.
I didn't stay up too late, but hey, listen. But you know what? The Blue Jays have given us a good pastime.
Yes, but
and
let's.
I don't like baseball.
Why don't you like baseball? What's the matter, you?
I told you why. And I don't know why the character doesn't call in. I can't think of his name. But anyway, no.
Wait. No. I'm sorry. I've forgotten why you don't like baseball and the character who's supposed to call in.
Oh, that guy always calls in. I can't think of his name. No, I don't like baseball. I said it's really, in essence, a slow game. And last night drew that out.
Okay. I enjoyed it.
I said the pitcher, but I must admit that the pitchers usually scratch certain places, spit, and do this, but they didn't do that last night.
Maybe they were okay.
They better start doing that.
They were saving their energy for 18 innings.
No, they should do it.
Oh, Mary. There it is. See, that was free. That was free. You didn't even have to pay for that bonus laugh from Mary. Shohei Ohtani, a handsome man, she says. That part didn't occur to me, but probably because every time I see him, I just see red. I was so angry with him. I have been so angry with him throughout this series. Look, let's not yet start talking about the Blue Jays in the past tense, okay? They had to use every player last night. The Dodgers had to use every player last night. I still think our bullpen's a little bit better than their bullpen, but we won't even worry about getting to the bullpen. We're going to go out tonight. Shane Bieber's going to start, and we're going to have a great game. We're going to have a great game, and I would like to come back here tomorrow and talk to you in a 2-2 series. Now, if I'm being honest, I don't have the best feeling about that, but it's going to be a good game, okay? Like Paul said a moment ago, isn't this what you want in the World Series? A good game, back and forth. A good series. That's what the World Series should be all about. These teams clearly belong together. We've got the very best in baseball going at it. And it just so happens that one of the very best in baseball is our Toronto Blue Jays. As we wind things down here, this afternoon, looking ahead to tomorrow's show after we all get a good night's rest. I'm just going to have to go home and rest up to be ready for the game tonight. But we will talk about our local paramedics who are facing increasing incidents of violence on the job. Our good friend Tom Korski with the Blacklocks Reporter will be here, keeping an eye on Ottawa's business. We'll explore why it's so difficult for young people to find work today. Also on the show tomorrow, an organization, No Space for Hate, KW, has organized a march in Victoria Park that will happen tomorrow evening. We'll tell you more about the march and why they're doing it. Ian Hunter, our Blue Jay Hunter, will be here to talk about that game tonight in the series so far. Rob Deutschman with some political R&D and another Talkback Hour, all on the way tomorrow. Let's meet back here tomorrow morning at 9, okay? My name is Mike Farwell. You are a force for good. Bye for now.